Good morning, Raptor freaks. Like out here, it's Saturday, and the Raptors lost to the Bucks last night, but the Blue Jays won. Hey, I mean that's kind of the thing is like Leafs and Raptors lost, but Blue Jays won. And if there's some sort of deal somewhere where it says, "Hey, the two other Toronto teams have to lose, but the Blue Jays will win in the first game of the World Series against the Dodgers," I think I'd take that trade. I'm a little annoyed that the Raptors lost because honestly, they didn't have to lose. They could have won this game for sure, but they didn't. And there's a couple reasons why, and we're going to go over them. That's what we do on this channel. We're going to react to the Raptors' home opener loss, which in saying that pisses me off because look, Raptors, you got to protect the North. You got to protect the Scotiabank Arena. And y'all kind of were casual about protecting the arena and getting the first home win. Seriously, we want to set a tone with how we play at home. We played very well at home last year for the most part, but this year we need to set the tone. And stepping out there against a very not talented Milwaukee Bucks team and losing to them like y'all did yesterday is not good. It's not good. Coach Darko wasn't that upset about the loss, though, after the game. He said that the guys put good effort out there and there's good tape. And, well, there's going to be games like this. But in some ways, he wasn't that upset about the loss. It was close at the end. And honestly, we know why we lost that game last night at the free throw line. It's dumb. It's so dumb. There was pretty uncommon misses for free throws at different times throughout the game, and missing so many free throws and having the margin the way it was, it's deflating. Another area where the Raptors lost was at the 3-point line. Even if we had just shot a little bit better from three and made a few more threes, Grady Dick, we might have actually won this game just from that without even being good at the free throw line. Alas, we lost. And credit to the Bucks, Doc Rivers, and Cole Anthony. Honestly, he was annoying, man. He was a huge X factor late in the game, taking over. They outvetted us to a degree. Even though we have guys like Brandon Ingram and Jakob Poeltl and Emmanuel Quickley and RJ, they outvetted us. There was a better veteran energy from Giannis, Cole Anthony, and Gary Trent Jr. There's a bit of a Gary Trent Jr. revenge game last night also. He was really dicing us up with the threes near the end of the game, and rightfully so. I mean, that's what he's supposed to do. That's his job, and we know that he did it for us when he played for us, and, well, he's going to relish coming back and doing it to us like that. So there was a bit of a Gary revenge game last night, and then the contributions of Bobby Portis were very underrated last night too. Very underrated, and in some ways he was causing us trouble with Yak guarding him. I didn't like that he, Darko in some ways should have probably switched Sandro in when Bobby came in because Yak was not guarding Portis right at all. And Portis really hurt us with outside shots trying to draw Jakob out. Jakob in general was just off. Jakob in general was just off last night. He's just a little bit off with his timing and rhythm. He has been for a couple games now. He's not playing as well as he did last year so far this season. And I think it's just a timing thing. I think it's just that he's a step slow. He's just a little too late to get to rebound. He's not getting to his defensive assignments exactly right either. It could be partly to have to do with that mask. That mask could be very annoying to him, and it may be causing him to not be exactly 100% playing the right way. So he did play for a stretch of the game without the mask, but then he put it back on again later. Yeah, I'm wondering, like, it seems like Jakob's having a hard time getting into the season correctly. Last year, he got in the season really smoothly. This year, it's not happening so smooth. And it did hurt us last night. There was, in particularly, Jak was not right for us in helping us to win. And I don't want people to come after him for it. It's just that I feel like he needs to get his timing back. And he's not got it exactly right from the beginning of the season. So, yeah, we'll go through the whole box score. We'll go over the stars of the game, all the regular stuff on the Raptor Freak channel. We got the straight goods on Canadian goods. I got the classic card, Raptors Reddit reactions. Yeah, we're going to check it all out. Let's see what's going on. Trevor J's first in. Commissioner Fund, Trevor J. Here is his words of wisdom for today. Every sunrise is a test. Every sunset is the grade. Okay. The morning hands you blank hours, daring you to prove what you value most. Every destruction is a question. Every challenge is an exam. Every decision is an answer. By the time the sun goes down, the results are written, not the numbers, but who you become. You cannot cheat the test because your effort is the ink. The grade is simple. Did you advance? I don't know what this is saying. I guess I'm going to interpret it the best way I can. These are long, man. This is too long. All right. I'm going to basically say, all right, I think what Trevor is trying to say to me, and I'm not totally clear on it, is that every day is a blank canvas. You can make your day what you want to. And at the end of the day, you're graded by the sunset, which I don't totally understand that. But, time is an illusion. In some ways, time is a construct that we've made for society to dictate people to do things. In some ways, it's a construct of capitalism. In some ways, it's full of shit. In some ways, existence is over time. And I don't know. I don't know how to. I don't totally get exactly what this word of wisdom means. Like, are you saying that what you choose to do during the day, you're judged for? Are you saying that make the best of your day by the end of the day? I'm not totally sure what the message is here. It's not totally clear. And maybe it's partly that I don't know. Every day you have a day to make. I would say this. This is my interpretation of this. You get up in the morning. Every day you have a day to make your day. Make your day count. That's all I say. How about that? Let's keep it simple. How about that? This is too long, Trevor. This is like a book, man. I want these quick and fast and not so drawn out. All right, let's see. Trevor's saying we could have won the game last night if we played the right way. Yeah, that's one way to put it. I think that's true. I think that this game was very winnable and they should have won it. But in some ways, nobody had the killer instinct to close it out in the right way. In some ways, we didn't get the offense in the right way. And we didn't close down the other end from the other guys. Like in some ways, they were getting too many baskets at the end where we needed our defense to be good. And there's different issues here. Giannis was a very, very much a force last night. In some ways, I didn't agree with Scotty poking the bear last night. I mean, I get it. You want to have a versus, Scotty versus Giannis, come at him, flex at him like that. In some ways, Giannis really respects you. He said some nice things about you in years past. And in some ways, it is a marquee matchup and it's a lot of fun. But Scott, once again, sometimes your celebrating or taunting is not really that good because you don't have anything to stand on. Like, seriously, if you're going to do shit like look back at people when you're going to dunk, if you're going to flex right in Giannis's face, a former MVP, you better fucking win the game, Scott. Seriously, all that shit looks cheesy as fuck if you don't actually win the game. And I wish you would stop doing this. Like, I know you're fired up and I know you want to get in his face. And I know in some ways we got fired up seeing this. But if you're not going to close out the game to win it at the end where it matters, don't fucking do this shit, bro. Because you're writing caches of talking shit and coming at people that have won championships and are MVPs, and you can't cash that check at the end of the game to take over the game and win it. Don't do this shit, bro, because it comes off as flaky. It comes off as cheesy. If you want to write big checks and be big boy, gloat, I'm gonna flex in Giannis's face. You better fucking win the game, Scott. That's what I have to say right there, because it's a bad look otherwise. And it looks cheesy and childish otherwise. I don't like people that are arrogant and show up people unless they actually show through and they get the win. And that kind of pissed me off. I thought it was nice at the time. It's like, oh, we're going to win now. We're doing this. But if you don't seal the deal, Scott, it just comes off really bad at the end of it. And I'll say that. Bucks fans are coming here to hear my reaction right now. I apologize for Scott getting in your player's face. It was embarrassing to me as a Raptors fan. Because honestly, if you're going to do shit like that, show people up like that, you better fucking win the game, Scott. That's what I got to say about that. I love you, Scotty. I only say these things from the bottom of my heart with the best intentions for you to be successful and be good. But you, once again, are writing checks with talking trash before you could actually cash them. And you need to make sure that you have a standing of, well, this is what I'm going to do, and this is how it's going to go, and we're going to win this game at the end, Giannis. Because in some ways, you may have fed the fire for Giannis to play better after that. and come back and kick our ass. Don't poke the bear unless you're ready to defeat the bear, is what I'm saying, Scott. Don't poke the bear unless you're ready to defeat the bear. And man, in some ways, it just came off cheesy at the end by the end of the game, especially if y'all could roll over, miss a bunch of free throws. I know Scott wasn't at fault for that because Scotty was pretty good at the free throw line out of all of them. But if y'all are going to be missing free throws, Emmanuel, at the end of the game like that, and we're going to lose cheesy like that, Scotty shouldn't be flexing at one of the best players in the league. And that's a Raptors fan saying this with all due respect, Bucks Nation. Seriously, it don't look right. It does not look right. Trevor J saying this: the Blue Jays destroyed the Dodgers 11-4. This was awesome, man. Once again, Adriana cannot stay up for the whole game, and she's calling me. She's saying, "I'm going to bed. I'm tired. I can't watch the game." I said, "What's the score?" "I'm not watching it." "Oh, it's tied right now." It's tied. "Oh, okay. Well, anything can happen still, Adriana. And well, let's make the most of a beautiful day. Would you just say, and might as well say, could you be mine? Would you be mine? A game 1 win for the Blue Jays." That's right. It was badass. In fact, there was history made last night in the MLB in the World Series. This was the biggest inning of runs in World Series history since 1968. Nobody got a run inning like that with the Blue Jays did last night. One of our players coming off the bench as a pitch hitter and hitting a grand slam. Barger or something like that, right? Barger. But yeah, fantastic game by the Jays. And this is the way you set the tone. In some ways, they're changing the predictions in the sports books about who might win this series. And now the Blue Jays are favored 51% to win. It's a very close margin, obviously. And they still have a lot of work to do, including today. They'll be playing game 2 today. And, the nation is captivated by MLB baseball and the World Series right now. And I love it. I wish I could watch. Seriously. These games seem like they're so much fun to watch, but I'm going to continue to do what I'm doing. I mean, I've actually thought about watching the game today. And I'm like, no, Lex, see this through. It's so tempting to want to watch, but you're doing your part. Don't watch them. Let them keep going. And hopefully they'll have their 3rd World Series in 3 tries. That's right. The Blue Jays have never lost in the World Series, Dodgers. So get ready to be the 3rd team to lose to us, jabroni. That's what I got to say to that. Yeah, I love it, man. 11-4. Let's go, Vladdy. Let's go, Blue Jays. Kick some more ass today. That's right. Get 2-0. Get 2-0. Trevor's saying this: the Brooklyn's fans run out on the court to fight Donovan Mitchell holding his hands up. What? Man, we don't need this shit right now. Seriously, Cash Patel trying to come and make us look bad. Donovan Mitchell, you don't need to be doing no panda friend shit. Seriously, man. Nah, no bridging the gap between players and fans. This is not a Malice in the Palace kind of shit. We don't need this, Donovan Mitchell. So whatever it is, fans too. Like, look, the fans are on notice. The NBA is watching us this year. We can't have any kind of crazy bullshit this year. In fact, I've seen on Reddit, somebody's complaining that they took their Canadian flag when they're coming in. And they're saying that they don't want any political symbols at the Raptors game at all, whether it's something for any country in war issues or anything like that. Apparently, people snuck Greek flags into the game last night anyway for Giannis, but they got past the people, and they're not supposed to be in there with flags at all at this point. There's a lot of more rules around the crowd in the arena, and don't try and be out of pocket. If they tell you don't go here and they don't do this, don't do it, because you could get banned from the arena. And they are very touchy right now about fans interacting with the players. Do not yell things at them about your bets. Do not cuss at them. Do not use racial epithets and racial attacks at players or their families. Fans, I don't understand why we have to tell y'all this. It seems like just basic, decent human behavior should be what you guys are coming to the arena with. But there are issues with the fans. I'm going to say the fans are the ones who are the problem. It's not necessarily Donovan Mitchell. They need to just stay in their seats and realize their part in the whole thing is a spectator. And in some ways, they don't even need to be talking, especially talking at the players. They're saying stuff. And honestly, one of the biggest problems with all this is the gambling. Once again, Adam Silver, if you really want to solve some of the issues between the fans and the players, well, you need to get rid of individual prop betting. And that will fix a lot of this issues. I'm saying there's a middle ground here. Gambling is not going to go away. I get it. People got to make money and be vultures and parasites on society. through gambling sites. And Cash Patel, the gambling companies are not victims, you dumbass piece of shit. They're not victims. Trust me. They're victimizing society with their business model is what they're doing. So yeah, you want these problems to go away. You got to get rid of individual prop betting, and that'll solve a lot of problems. That'll solve the issues with individuals trying to manipulate to make money as players, and that will solve the directed ire at specific players by by fans that make prop bets on them. As Jaylen Brown said yesterday, don't bet on me, fans. I don't want you to put any prop bets on me. Do not bet on me is what he's saying. I don't want you to bet on me. Don't you fucking bet on anything about what I'm going to score or assists or rebounds or nothing. Like, seriously, we don't need this gambling. This gambling's optional. This gambling is really just facilitating rich people to make themselves even more rich off of leeching off people on their gambling addictions. It's not that this shit is necessary or wanted or even like a part of the game. You guys trying to make it a part of the game? Well, it's fucked up. And it's really hypocrisy that we have so many ESPN talking heads talking about this and gambling. Meanwhile, FanDuel ads are all over their fucking screen. You know? So get your head out of your ass, Adam Silver. And you know that they're going to keep coming at the NBA with different bullshit as long as the gambling is like this. So you need to change the rules and fast. And if FanDuel is being a little bitch and say, we don't want to do this, Adam Silver, we like how it is. We don't care if the players are in danger. We don't care if families are destroyed financially because the father can't fucking keep his phone out of his hand, gambling degenerate on every single fucking thing he can gamble on. We don't care about that because we only care about our profits. And if we can make money off of Jonte Porter missing minutes or whatever, what bullshit, that we're going to do it. And that's the problem right there. That's what I say right there. Yeah, Donovan Mitchell, watch yourself and don't fucking get engaged with the fans. You don't want to do that. That's a really bad thing to do. Trust me. Really, really bad thing to do. I don't know anything about the situation, so I can't really say who's at fault. But I'm going to say right now, if fans are getting engaged with players in certain ways, it's the fans' fault. It's the fans' fault. Trevor's saying this: Ingram, RJ, two best scorers. Scotty and IQ played well in battle. All right, I'll do my stars of the game right now. My number one star of the game is RJ. RJ was very, very, very efficient once again. I love how the broadcast crew is going on and on about RJ and how well he's played so far this season. This is 2 games in a row where he's been the number one star of the game to start the season. He had 9 of 12 this time, only missed 3 shots, 33 minutes. 1 of 3 from 3, 1 of 3 at the free throw line. He did miss 2 free throws, so he was a part of the people that I can blame for this loss, even though, you know, in some ways he's done so well so far this year with the free throws. He had a little backtrack last night, a little backtrack. Only 6 rebounds, 2 assists, 2 steals, 2 blocks, 2 turnovers, a -6 with 20 points and 33 minutes. He's just efficient. And the stuff with RJ early was early, yeah. And in some ways, I wish I'd seen him more late. You know, that's when we need you to really forcefully go in the lane and try and score this stuff. Now, the part of the problem with the Raptors offense last night was you get to really underestimate Giannis Antetokounmpo's defensive prowess as a middleman in the middle of the Bucks defense. And when we're trying to operate, he really puts a wrench in the system. He is just a problem. And in some ways, that's part of the reason why the Raptors offense was not working exactly right. There was a shit disturber in the middle, the Greek freak. And he makes it really hard in some ways to get a smooth offense because you're just a little off. Or you can't do things exactly how you want to do. In some ways, the Bucks and Doc Rivers were using a page out of our own book as far as make them uncomfortable, don't make their offense smooth or easy. And they did that successfully. It was really hard for the Raptors to get going offensively at the beginning of the game. A lot different than the first game of the season against the Hawks. And it was annoying. But RJ was one of those steady guys in the beginning. But he faded away. He didn't show up at the end of the game. Him and Mamu had 2 possessions where they tied the game back up, where RJ went strong and made a layup. And then Mamu went down and made a little shot too. And that was like the last time I really saw RJ do something major in the game last night. So I think he was the best player and most efficient Raptor on the court. But he kind of disappeared at the end of the game to a degree. My second star of the game is Brandon Ingram. Brandon Ingram had a solid scoring game for most of the game. 37 minutes for Brandon, 10 of 20 from the field, 3 of 7 from three, 6 of 7 from the free throw line, 6 rebounds, 3 assists, 1 block, 4 turnovers, a -9 with 29 points. The issues with Brandon were that too little, too late. In some ways, when what you need to raise the alarm because the margin was not right in the fourth quarter. You guys in the fourth quarter needed to separate yourselves from the Bucks, but you never could do that. In fact, the Bucks played better than y'all in the fourth quarter to a degree. They executed better with Cole Anthony and Giannis, and they seemed to stop us better. And the fact that y'all couldn't make free throws was really dismaying and really kind of killed any kind of momentum towards us winning. It sucks when you guys get to the line and you make 1 of 2 free throws. So Brandon tried to make some shots. He did hit a 3 near the end, and he was trying to close up the gap. But in some ways, I wish Brandon had turned on I'm clutch Brandon, and I'm going to just carry the team in the end to win by I'm going to just start dominating the game. But maybe he starts having to do that around 6 or 5 minute mark to go instead of trying to rush and do it in the last 2 or 3 minutes. Yeah, in some ways, I would have gone to Brandon and established him more as a dominant scorer in the fourth quarter to carry us better. And that just didn't happen. There were a couple different issues here. But Brandon overall was a good scorer. And throughout the game, he was carrying us at different times. But there's still periods of time where we stagnate. Like Matt Devlin should not be ever saying, Matty D should not ever be saying, you know what? We can't have we haven't scored for the last 2 or 3 minutes. That shouldn't be happening this year with this team, Darko. These stagnant periods where nobody's scoring, that should not be happening. We're too talented and we have too many good players, and you should have a starter on the court at all times. If it's not Brandon out there carrying and making shots when we can't make any, RJ or Scotty, that has to happen. My third star of the game is off the bench, and it is Jamison Battle. Jamison was the only plus that was positive for the Raptors in this game. Everybody else had a minus in the plus-minus, except for Grady. He was a +1. But Battle was a +11. He had 11 minutes. He was 3 of 3 from 3, and he had 2 rebounds, 1 steal, and 9 points and a turnover. So, Jamison was solid. In some ways, as Jack and Matt were talking about it, he got in the game ahead of Jacoby. But I think that was really more that Jacoby's just coming back from an illness. And Darko has a certain way of doing things. Just because you came back and you were available all of a sudden doesn't mean you're going to go right into the game. And in some ways also because the team's so deep with depth and different guys, it may be at this point, there's a little bit of a wait to get back in because there's so many good guys on our team. And that, Jamison has earned the right to be in the rotation spot because he's played very solid. And he does offer us a very good shooting option on the court. We did see Battle Dick formation at times last night where they have Grady and Jamison out there at the same time. And that's a fun lineup because it's a real floor spreader. And yeah, Battle's fantastic. And Battle also was underrated as far as defending and getting after things on the court in general. So yeah, those are my 3 stars of the game in the loss: RJ, Brandon, and Jamison. Maybe an honorable mention to Scott. Scott had his moments here and there, but overall, Scotty, I'm still kind of like what I said earlier. I'm like, man, don't be flexing at people if you're not going to go get the W at the end. Seriously. That's what I'm saying. Back in the day, you get talked trash to for talking all this, being arrogant and doing stuff like that, and you don't even win. Seriously. Like in the old NBA, people that did shit like that would be like made fun of and said, who the fuck are you to act like this when you didn't even win? That's why it's embarrassing to me. It's an old school mindset that, if you're going to make cash, or you're going to put checks like that out there, you better cash them with winning at the end is what I'm saying right here. But yeah, Scotty wasn't totally horrible. 36 minutes, 6 of 15 from the field, 2 of 4 from 3. We did see him confidently stride into his first made 3 of the season. And that was nice. They dared him to shoot it, and he shot it unconsciously, and it was very beautiful and perfect. So this is good. This is a good sign that his hand's pretty good and that his shooting should be better overall this season than last year because hopefully his hand is healed and that he can shoot cleanly. That first 3 he made was very clean. It was good to see IQ and Scotty get their first 3-pointers made of the season. That was very good. Scotty was 3 for 4 at the free throw line. Not horrible there. He did miss 1. 5 rebounds, 3 assists, 3 steals, 3 turnovers, a minus 17, which was the worst on the team, with 17 points. Yeah, Scott, you got to play winning basketball, man. And winning basketball means your team is outscoring the other team. And I know you had a tough assignment. And I love the whole going back and forth with Giannis. I want to see a superstar matchup where you guys are going right back at each other. And there was some really cool things you did when you were attacking Giannis and coming back and guarding him the other end. I really wish Murray Boyles had played. I was wrong, guys. I staked my reputation on Murray Boyles playing, and I was absolutely wrong. And well, I got to take the L on that one, just like the Raptors took the L for the game. I think that we would have been better off if Colin had played, because in some ways he may have slowed down Giannis a little bit better. And that's what we wanted to try and see last night. Giannis was the best player on the court, and he dominated the game last night. And I wish we had slowed him down better. Yeah, Scott was the area that really pissed me off with the Raptors was the rebounding. We got out rebounded by 20 last night. And there's a real problem when Jakob Poeltl only got 5 rebounds. Scotty's only got 5 rebounds, and the other side's getting like Giannis got 20. So the rebounding battle was lost majorly. And there was a stretch in the late in the game where we couldn't get the defensive rebound, and they kept getting shot attempts over and over again. Offensive rebound, Bucks, offensive rebound. Give them like 3 or 4 shots on a possession, Raptors, because you ain't collecting the rebounds. And I don't know where the mess up was there. They were maybe more aggressive getting to it. Doc Rivers was very happy with the effort of his guys on the boards. He said it in his press conference after the game. But the rebounding was an area where we got our ass beat too. And a lot of unnecessary second chance shots just from very poor boxing out and very poor getting after the ball. When their shot goes up, you need to go get that rebound and end the possession, Raptors. And in some ways, I don't like being critical of Jakob, but in some ways he fucked up last night as far as being a rebounder for us. He did not rebound the way he's supposed to last night. And that was a problem. That was a problem. All right, let me get back in the chat and see what you guys are saying here. Let's see. James is saying Poeltl didn't have the best game. Quick 2 fouls in the first quarter. Yeah, I think that was part of it. I think he's just having a hard time getting his rhythm to start the game. I feel like what we need to do is go to him at the beginning of the game, because last year the success that Yak had for the whole season was, he's offensive, and he's being a hub. He's getting the ball, and he's either making some nice little push shots or little layups coming at the basket, or he's passing off of himself and getting other people involved. I feel like since Brandon showed up, we haven't been going through Jakob enough, and that we need to get Jakob started, Darko, by going through him like we did last year for a little while. And then maybe he can find his shot, his confidence, and maybe he'll be a little bit better and more effective on rebounding and defense. Because, last night, Jakob Poeltl was more of a detriment than a help in the game. And it's not his fault. In some ways, it's the Bucks are a small ball team now. Miles Turner is not a full center. And you can play Jakob against Miles Turner. But when Bobby Portis came out there, it was a bad matchup. And Mamu was a much better choice. They did a couple different things with the 5 for the Raptors. Jakob got in foul trouble. And then there was a period of time where we didn't run with the center, and we let Scott be the center. But that wasn't right either. And then as soon as Sandro Mamu came in, I felt way better, and it looked way better with Mamu running at 5 for a while in that game. So, yeah, it was tough. I don't want to be overly critical of Scott or Jakob, but both of them failed in the rebounding last night. And they should have been going to get those loose rebounds as much as possible. So, yeah, James is saying Jacoby should have got some minutes. Well, we don't know how, sometimes when guys are coming back from being sick or injured, they're not totally 100%. They get dressed and they come. But once again, we have a jammed up team. And in some ways, when you're out, you got to go back to the end of the line. And, Jonathan and Jameson, who are kind of in the same position as Jacoby at this point, they have been doing well. They've been playing well. In some ways, if they screw up, then all of a sudden Jacoby's going to get his number called. So it's kind of like you're in a queue and you can't just jump in line. And if Jameson's playing solid minutes and like Darko likes what he's doing, he's going to be ahead of him for right now. But, it changes. It fluctuates and it goes to different places. And, Jacoby will get his chance again, but this is a cautionary tale. It's like you don't want to be sick, you don't want to be hurt, you don't want to miss being available, because if you're not available, somebody's going to come and get your minutes for a little while, and it may be hard for you to get your minutes back. So that's a cautionary tale. Don't get sick. Don't get hurt. Don't miss time, because if you're trying to build your spot and your minutes and your rotation, nothing's granted to you. And somebody else could come in and get that chance while you're out, and it's hard for you to reestablish what you had before. That's just a lesson right there. That's just a lesson right there. James is saying, Lex, how was Darko's rotations? I thought that they were overall mostly good. Like, I really do like that he's really putting an emphasis on having starters out there at all times. You may have just Brandon out there with the bench, but that's a pretty good balanced team, because Brandon is like that. I like the fact that he's been coupling Scotty with RJ a lot. Like, those guys seem to be mirroring minutes together. I think that, once again, like I kind of just talked about, the center stuff was kind of screwed up. If there's any criticism of Darko, it's the stuff with Jakob. It's that, like I said, I think that Jakob could have mirrored, and I don't know why Darko doesn't do this more, because Jakob is such a specialized center. He should really be playing the biggest player on the court for the other team and match their minutes. He shouldn't be out there when other teams are playing small ball, because we can get burned for that. And in some ways, you match him with Miles Turner's minutes. When Miles comes out and they go more small ball and Giannis is running center, don't play Jakob then, because Giannis is running circles around you, getting the rebounds and scoring right by you guys with his immense talent right by the basket. So if Yak's not going to step up and be physical and get in the way of Giannis and absolutely stop him with a wall, then take him out and put Sandro in, because Sandro's faster and quicker to get around. And plus, he played for the Bucks. He's friends with Giannis and Bobby Portis and them. And he has an extra get up to go after them, just like Gary Trent has an extra get up to come after us. So if I'm critical of him in anywhere in the rotations, it's maybe how he handled the center last night, because I feel like there were places where we got exploited by Doc Rivers and his plan in some ways, and it didn't have to happen that way. So really, seriously, please, Coach Rajakovic, seriously think about how you use Jakob's minutes against the other team, and make sure he's going out there when maybe Jokic is out there too, or maybe Embiid is out there too, or Cat, or the really big centers. And when other teams go small ball, take his ass out and run the way that the other team is, unless you have a plan to dominate them with his size and you give him the ball and feed him in the post. Otherwise, he's going to hurt us on the court if you don't utilize him that way. So, and Jakob doesn't hurt us most of the time, honestly. In fact, this is maybe one of the very few games that I've seen since Jakob returned to the Raptors in the last few years where I've felt like he actively hurt us, like last night. And that's not very often. That's not very often at all. It's very much the opposite. He's very much helping us to win. And we've seen in his absence that he'd help us win in some of the games where he hasn't been available too. So this is a very rare game where it's kind of like, wow, Jakob was actually a liability. And I'm not going to say that happens very often. I'm going to say that right now. Yeah. James is saying this: Wemby with another dominant performance, 9 blocks. Giannis is probably the only guy that can slow down Wemby. I don't know if that's true. There's going to be different people out there that can probably do different things to try and do stuff. I mean, I've seen Dylan Brooks stop Wemby. So, it's different with everybody. They're going to have different styles. And, Dylan Brooks is not the biggest guy in the world, but he's a defensive genius in some ways. And he was very effective when Canada would play France at guarding Wemby. He was doing some really interesting things to Wemby. He pushed him around a lot and kind of physicaled him and didn't let him do anything safely. Now, this is the thing. Wemby's busting out this year, and he's going to be a big deal. And we'll see him on Monday. Yeah, we'll see him on Monday. So it'll be a very interesting game. Raptors Champs is here. Good morning, Raptors Champs. What a game, but I still have trust in the Raptors. We really did. We really could have used CMB in those Bucks games. Yeah, that's why I'm disappointed he didn't show up and play last night. Like, that really, in some ways, it's not only that I said, oh, he's going to play for sure, guys. I mean, that's the language they were using at the practice interview. But I guess he didn't totally feel exactly right. and they didn't bring him out. And I feel like you're right. He could have made a difference. In some ways, it's like what they were saying, I think on the broadcast or maybe in the post-game news conference with Darko. You know, if Colin's out there playing defense on Giannis, Scotty doesn't have to guard Giannis like he did last night, and maybe he focuses more of his energy on scoring and getting points for the Raptors, because it is a real load to try and tie up the Greek Freak and slow him down. And even then, they did not do a good job of stopping him. He got so many dunks and like little layups around the basket. The Raptors' defensive wall they used against Giannis in the Eastern Conference Finals in 2019 was nowhere to be found as far as with this team that we had last night. And I think that it's a learning example for people on the team with the tape today to kind of look at this and this. I feel like Jakob, once again, I don't want to slag on him too much, was absolutely defensively inept last night. And I feel like he just wasn't in his normal self where he was on it and kind of meeting people at the right places around the basket to defend our goal. It really was like he was just off. And I want to say this. I mean, Jamison Battle talked about this on his interview with Kayla Gray in the shift, that wearing the mask last year kind of screwed him up and made it hard for him to play when he'd have to wear a mask. And I think that this is common with a lot of players when they have to wear a mask, that it may screw them up and kind of throw them off a little bit. And I think that this is happening a little bit with Yak right now. I think this is happening right now. There may be some sort of like way that you can't see with your peripherals. And some of his defensive stuff that he needs to do is side eye. And that mask may be blocking some of his vision. And that's part of the reason why the Bucks are able to just get inside and just score like that. I mean, there were 5 Bucks that absolutely beat us. That's another reason why we lost, is that they had 5 good quality players that added to winning. And we only had like 2 guys that were really playing quality where they were added to winning. And that's where they beat us. They stacked more meaningful games behind Giannis, Bobby Portis, Ryan Rollins, Cole Anthony, and Gary Trent Jr. Those 5 guys absolutely killed us in different ways too. In different ways. Giannis, very much the big meat of beating our ass with his all-around great talent. Gary Trent Jr. with daggers, hitting open shots when he gets them. Ryan Rollins, very aggressive, going to the basket and pushing our defense back on its heels and making some very tough layups near the basket. Cole Anthony using veteran guile late in the game, knowing how to win a game, close the game by doing the right decisions late in the game. In fact, he was the clutch player at the end of the game that was closing the game out to help the Bucks win. And then Bobby Portis, just his part with drawing Jakob out and him making some key baskets outside. Like Bobby Portis don't make those shots, the Bucks aren't going to win necessarily. You know, that was the very key important thing. So those 5 Bucks right there, they absolutely were the ones that beat us last night. Not Miles Turner and not Kyle Kuzma. That's for damn sure. I mean, how the fuck, Kyle Kuzma? You fouled somebody and got hurt and had to leave. Nobody gets hurt on fouling someone. That's kind of crazy. You did like a little a flip or something, and then he twists his ankle. I don't know. It was a little extra. And, well, he had to leave because of it. Yeah, that guy's a joke, man. That guy's a joke. Yeah, who the hell gets hurt on fouling somebody else? That was weird, man. Yeah, we could have probably used CMB. Woulda, coulda, shoulda. The game happens the way it does. We play it out, and we get the outcome that happens at the end. And hopefully these guys learn from it. You know, you got to covet your home court and protect it, is what I'm saying right now. Yeah, Isaac's saying this. I think we win with CMB. See, Isaac's saying the same thing. I don't know. We can't say it for sure. Who knows? Maybe Colin comes in and he's starstruck by Giannis, and he's absolutely horrible, and he doesn't play well. There's all kinds of different outcomes here. There's all kinds of different outcomes. Trevor's saying Cole Anthony, it was too easy for him. They needed to put more pressure on him last night. Yes. It's just he's a veteran guy. In some ways, he's a gifted scorer in the NBA, and he has a lot of time, and he understands the NBA to a degree better than Emmanuel. You know, that's the crazy thing. You know, in some ways, the stuff that Cole Anthony did last night is something I'd like to see Emmanuel quickly do in the future. Seriously. Understand what he just did as far as putting pressure and getting the hoop. I mean, and give credit to Doc Rivers. Seriously. In some ways, he coached that game very well last night with his decisions and his instruction for his players and what they needed to do to try and win. They were not the better team. And if we had played better, we would have won. but we could not get into our offense efficiently. In some ways, we were staying close to them by being scrappy and just playing hard. And that's why Darko was not mad at them, because he felt like they played all out. It's just that nothing was coming easy on offense. They were not making their outside shot. They did not play well from the three-point line. And still, despite a couple different things, not shooting well at the free throw line, we still had a chance to win this game at the end. It's just that we did not execute well in the last 4 minutes of the game. So it's a weird game, because, there's a lot, every game's weird, and there's always individual stuff, like a ref leaves and all of a sudden he can't go anymore because his calf seized up. There's always some sort of storyline in the game as you watch it, and no game's ever the same. They happen in similar ways in some ways, but never exactly the same individual way. And, this was a weird one. In some ways, they found a better way to win. Leo Routens is right in the pregame, saying stuff like, the Raptors every night, they may need to find different ways to win depending on the situation. And, well, this game last night was very winnable, but they didn't figure out the way to win it in the way that it was. And that's too bad. And the free throw line is a big, huge part of the problem. Big, huge part of the problem. Yeah, Cole Anthony had it too easy, for sure, Trevor. You're exactly right. Free throws, once again, was a big part. We didn't win this game. All right, let's go look at the team stats, since I seem like I'm dancing around them real quick a lot and saying some of the stuff I'm saying right now. It was disappointing. It was a very even game stat-wise for most of the game. Now, they shot too well. That's another problem. If we're going to have this defense, it can't just be for transition. We have to be good on half-court defense too, Raptors. And that means defensive rebounding, like I said. That means coming out and getting the three-point shooters. That means no easy lanes to the basket for layups like Cole Anthony. And, well, they shot 52%, the Bucks. And we shot 49%. And they ended up getting more shots than us. That's a telltale sign that something's wrong too, is that the Bucks outworked us and had 5 more field goal attempts than us. That's normally a category we always win consistently in the Darko era, that we manufacture more field goal attempts. In fact, back in the Knick era, it was very common too. But alas, the Bucks manufactured 5 more field goal attempts than us. And that's a sign that they were out hustling us. That was a sign that they got more offensive rebounds than us. And that's a problem. 3-point shots, the Raptors started shooting more threes later, but they really were dismal from 3 in the first half. And in some ways, they should have gotten more of their share of the threes early. 14-11, the 3-point shots. And as Jack said, that is part of the margin right there. That's 3 3-point shots more. That's 9 points. And, well, we lost by 6 points. So, them getting a couple more threes than us and making them, that's a problem. They didn't shoot better at 3 than us, but they shot more threes than us. The free throw line, absolutely horrible. But the Bucks were really bad at that too. And, we had a 2-point lead at the half. We wouldn't have had that lead if Giannis had been making his free throws. We have to be very grateful that Giannis is a bad free throw shooter. And that is why the strategy of fouling him instead of letting him just try and score next to the basket is smart. Scotty fouls Giannis and not let him get a layup. You got to make sure he doesn't finish it and gets an and one. But yeah, fouling Giannis is a smart strategy because he's a bad free throw shooter. And, you can foul him every time he gets near the basket. That's a smart move. Don't worry about fouling him, because they shot 56%. We shot 66%, and we missed 9 free throws. So they got +9 on the free throw line, and we got -9 that we didn't make at the free throw line. The 3-point line, they got +9. Yeah, this is where the difference in the score starts happening. And it sucks, man. The Raptors have been so good at free throws for the whole preseason into the first game. They shat the bed on free throws last night. I don't know. Is this something to do with Scott Foster? Do we not shoot good free throws? Is that where he was manipulating things? Was there something weird about the free throws with him? I don't know. Scott Foster seemed like he was on the level last night. In fact, he called some calls for us at times. So, it's tough. They out-rebounded us. This is a big problem. 51-41. I hate this. They shouldn't be out-rebounding us with that team that they have against us. And this is an area, like I said, I don't want to dump on Jakob too much. 14 offensive rebounds for the Bucks was absolutely a problem, especially in some of those late possessions where they just kept getting chances to keep trying shooting. That was really bad, really bad. Some of it was that the ball was bouncing into the mid-range area, and we didn't have any Raptors positioned there, and it was just bouncing straight to a Buck, which sucks. Then we need some more Dennis Rodman telegraphing where the ball is going to bounce to. Scotty, study Dennis Rodman. Jonathan Mobo, study Dennis Rodman and study trajectory and the way the ball bounces off the backboard and where it goes in geometry, and start going to the spots like Dennis the Worm Rodman would. Seriously, because there was some really bad rebounding last night because nobody's going to the spot where the ball's going to from the shot. And it's going straight to a buck, or it's right in the middle, and the Bucks are more after it, and they get it, and they get another shot attempt. Yeah, it's a problem. It's a problem. The assists were not that good. In some ways, this is what I'm talking about. We got 25 assists, which is the absolute bottom minimum acceptable to Darko. And I think once again, this is on the download. The Bucks are a shit disturber on offense in the mid range, and Giannis is the reason why, because he's just a long armed guy who's very athletic, run around, and he just gets in passing lanes, and he makes it harder for the Raptors to pass it cleanly and move it around the horn and get their 0.5 offense going. And this is signified by only 25 assists for the Raptors. We get way more assists normally, and our team plays off each other way more better. But in some reason, Giannis and the game plan that Doc Rivers had really stymied it all up. They really threw a monkey wrench in all of it. And it's not easy to do that with Giannis deflecting and just being a disturber in the middle. And that was a problem for that. So, yeah, but we still won with the assisted turnovers. They had 25 assists and 19 turnovers. We had 25 assists and 15 turnovers, or 16. Yeah, that's not that much of a difference. In some ways, we should have had them getting way more turnovers. And, well, we were close to them in turnovers. That's a big area where we need to do better, because that's where we can outclass the other team and get some advantages. So it's tough. The points in the paint, even 54 with both. And we really didn't get out in transition. Only 18 fast break points. It's tough, man. It is tough. And in some ways, this game could have been won in a couple different areas better. Make some more threes, Grady Dick. Make your free throws, Raptors. Cover the boards. Don't let second chance shots from the offensive rebounds. That is all winning formula stuff that would have changed the game last night. Right there, man. It's messed up, man. Kareem Thomas is saying this. Cole was cooking us. Darko should have made the decision to put in Shed as a primary defender against Anthony. I can live with Giannis getting his numbers, but Gary and Cole dropping plus 20 is unacceptable. Yeah, is that how much they got? Let me go look. We had Giannis with 31 and 20, which is like he's the last player to do that to the Raptors. A 30 and 20 game doesn't happen very often, but it happens with Giannis. And he has 7 assists also. He did have 5 turnovers. But, yeah, Giannis was really good. He made both his three-pointers too. Gary got 20 on 7 of 15 shooting, 4 of 11 from 3. I knew Gary would be a factor, and the Raptors didn't get the memo. And in some ways, not guarding Gary correctly is a big problem. There's going to be a lot of good tape for Darko and them to watch today. There's going to be a lot of learning today for the young Raptors. And, yeah, Cole Anthony, 23 points, plus 5, a 9-14 shooting. He was the best player on the court in some ways after Giannis, because he was very efficient and very effective. And like I said, he's the one who took over and helped them win the game at the end. He had 7 assists even. So he's like, it's not even like he's a real point guard. Doc said this. He's like, I've been telling Cole Anthony, prove people that you are actually a point guard too. Because you're slagged with this reputation that you're really just a shooting guard in a point guard's body. So he's challenged Cole Anthony as the backup point guard for the Bucks this year to get playmaking done. And, well, he did a pretty decent job. 7 assists, 1 turnover. Yeah, he was a problem. You're right, Kareem. We shouldn't be having jabronis like Gary and Cole Anthony going for 20 on us, especially when Grady Dick ain't getting 20. And, we have other guys that are struggling to meet up to that. I totally agree with this. Yeah, Cole Anthony was a big problem last night. There was a big, big problem. Gary, revenge game. He was very much relishing kicking the Raptors' ass. When they announced his name at the beginning of the game, the fans did not react to Gary, and that sucks. I hate that. Gary Trent Jr. was a valued Raptor for many years. And Raptors fans, you need to show respect for him when he comes back and at least just give him a clap. You guys cheered Giannis more than you cheered Gary. And he noticed that. And in some ways, you gave him motivation to come kick our ass by not respecting a man who put in time and played his ass off for our team for a few years. I respect the hell out of Gary. I like Gary. And in some ways, Raptors fans who were there at the beginning of the game, y'all dropped the ball with at least giving him a friendly applause in the starters when they announced them at the beginning of the game. I saw that part. And I was like, man, they didn't even react to Gary's name. They cheered for Giannis, but they did not fucking do jack shit for Gary. And that stings, man, because he, just like Chris Boucher, just like all these other guys who've left, when they come back, they want to know that they were loved here in Toronto. And in some ways, Gary should be treated like that. He didn't do nothing wrong to us. And the fact that Raptors fans dropped the ball on giving him love when he came back, that's messed up. I don't like that. I don't like that at all. Yeah, G saying this. I had a feeling they would lose. That's why I didn't say anything. Our team is still young-minded, in my opinion, where Giannis is very battle-tested and serious. It's all good, though. We will bounce back. Yeah. I think that the age of our team did have a factor in this, which is crazy because, I don't feel like they're overly more veteran than us. I mean, maybe Bobby Portis, Giannis, but otherwise, it's like we should have leaders on our team that take it seriously, like Brandon, like RJ, like Scotty, that, need to step up and understand this. But, once again, like the announcer said, you take Garrett Temple off our age pyramid, and all of a sudden we're the third youngest team after the Nets and the Wizards. So there is a lot of truth to this, that we're still a really young team. And part of our loss last night is inexperience on how to close it out. Even if we have such good, talented young players, sometimes the roadmap to the win that Fred knows is not there in their hands, and they don't know exactly what they're doing to close the game out to win, which is too bad. But I can blame people like Brandon Ingram, who's been in this league for 10 years. You should know what to do, Brandon. You should know what to do. And RJ, you and Emmanuel have got enough experience to know. And Scotty, you should be learning this by now too. You should. Yeah, you should be learning this by now. I thought that they should win this game. Like I said, this was the easiest game in October to me. I still believe that. Although Dallas is down 0-2, and we're going to go see the Mavericks tomorrow, and they're kind of a shit show already. So maybe we can pounce on disorganization of the Dallas Mavericks tomorrow when we go to Texas and play them tomorrow in our third game. That could very well be because they've lost too. They lost the Wizards last night, y'all. The Mavericks lost the Wizards last night. And could very well be they're motivated because they're down 0-2 to start the season already to try and get their first win against us tomorrow. Well, we'll just have to see how it goes. But you know what? The fact that the Mavericks are 0-2 and they're struggling to start the season, well, Raptors, give them 0-3. Seriously, because I don't totally believe in this team just because Cooper Flagg showed up and this and that and all that. No, fuck that team. Fuck Nico Harrison. Fuck that bitch that owns the team too. And fucking beat the Mavericks ass tomorrow. That's what I say right there. Yeah. That's what I say right there. Boom goes the dynamite. Yeah. Nacho is saying this. Free throws. Giannis can beat any team, though. He's like that. You're right. He can do that. But, we've had a lot of success as a franchise against Giannis in his career. And we usually defeat him because we usually have the right personnel to slow him down. It's just a weird game last night. Like I said, the Raptors defense was not right. They may have been trapping and they may have been putting pressure and trying to stop people from coming up court. But once they got the half court set, the defense was awful. The Bucks were able to do whatever they wanted to operate in the half court set. They moved the ball around, made us chase around, and then they got away from us and they got an open three and people would hit them. And that was a really good thing they did there. Yeah, Cole Anthony is not normally this good. You're right. But in some ways, if there's a void of leadership or somebody knowing what to do at the end of the game, his veteran know-how knew how to play in those cracks and make effective things happen for his team to win. And that's something that we need to do better. Yeah, Kareem saying this, our half-court sets are not the greatest. I want to see endless cuts. Things seem to get stagnant. Then we have to rest on Ingram to create. Like I said, I think that at the beginning of the game, we need to go through Jakob immediately, Darko, to get him involved more in offense and make the other team have to worry about him. When we ignore Jakob in our offense and it's more like we're doting between Brandon and RJ, that's a problem. We need to establish Yak first because in some ways he'll play better on defense and rebounding if he's kind of going in offense too. He'll feel better because he was ineffective last night. And we don't want to go immediately to isolation Brandon at the start of the game. That should be like backup plan for, whoa, shit's really hitting the fan and we're not having an easy time to score. Give the ball to Brandon and let him use his amazing talent one-on-one in a half-court set in isolation. No, we shouldn't be doing that to start. That should be a backup plan, break in a case of emergency because things are going so bad we can't get anybody to score, then give it to Brandon and make him work like Pascal used to. I don't agree with that. That they went so heavy on ISO at times last night. We got to go with what we do well, and that's cutting, that's passing, and I agree with what Kareem's saying here. That that in some ways we can't rely on lazy taking outside shots or just isolation basketball. You guys got to play Darko's system and the way it is for us to be the best. The Bucks did a good job of taking care of the ball and not allowing a lot of transition baskets for us. And that was another huge key for us not getting going on offense the right way totally last night too. G saying this, Raptors shot better from the line than the Bucks. Wasn't just free throws. Details need to be worked on. Yeah, but if you look at that, G, it's I don't care what the Bucks shoot at free throws. That doesn't matter. If they shoot horrible at free throws like they did, it doesn't matter. I'm worried about us because we can't control what they're going to do. And I'll only look at ours. And we missed 9 free throws. Sure, they missed 11, but who cares if they're shitty and bad? We need to be better and make more of our 9 misses because that makes up more of the margin. So I get what you're saying, but still, also, we shouldn't be dragged down by their free throw percentage because Giannis is a bad free throw shooter. No, the Raptors need to shoot 80% at the free throw line every night so that they have the best chance to win. And when they miss so many free throws, that's an easy thing to blame for the game last night. I don't care what the Bucks or other teams do at the free throw line. That's independent of everything. We only worry about what we do. And even if they miss a whole bunch and they could say, oh, well, if we had made 11 more free throws, this and that, woulda, coulda, shoulda, none of that matters. What would have mattered is if Emmanuel and those guys had made those free throws late. And yeah, I mean, I get what you're saying, and you're right, but it's also at the same time, we can't worry about how many they miss. We have to worry about what we're doing and what we miss. Let's see. Kareem saying this, where's Milbester? I thought the Jays were going to lose that first game. He comes in here waving a white flag, but deep in his soul, he wants the Jays to lose. No, I want to say this, Kareem. What Milbester said yesterday was a misstep for sure, and I got mad at him and I timed him out. But he was trying to make his analysis of what he thought was going to happen last night. That's all. He didn't say it exactly in the best way, and he pissed us off. But I think all his intentions were pure. He just wanted to come in and make his educated opinion as a student of baseball on what he thought was going to happen in the game of the World Series last night. And he was wrong, obviously. And if Milbester shows up today, we can talk about it and say, why were you wrong, Milbester? You said the Dodgers are going to win game 1. Your expert baseball opinion. Why were you wrong? That's because baseball isn't just all the analytics and the stats and looking at it and saying, oh, this is the outcome. No, there's X factors and there's a lot of things involved. I think that one of the things people are saying today is that the Blue Jays may actually have a real advantage in this World Series because the Dodgers have not had to face teams that have hit so well. They've been very low scoring games in the National League in the playoffs. They've been games where the Dodgers just need to score a run and they win 1-0, shit like that. And well, with an offensive juggernaut like the Blue Jays booming their bats, there may not be enough bat production from the Dodgers to keep up with the Blue Jays in this World Series. So I like the sounds of that. And let's see more of what I just said. And let an 11-run game happen for the Blue Jays over and over again till they get their 3rd World Series. That's right. That's right. That's what I say right there. G saying this, where is Milbester? Just wanted to respectfully say, I told you so. Exactly. Exactly. Now, y'all know on the reaction, my phone line is open. So if anybody wants to call me today, I will put you on the air. If you want to talk directly to me through the phone and we can have a little discussion, the phone line is open. It is a reaction stream. So we can react to the game, both games last night, whether it's Blue Jays or Raptors. Yeah, G saying this, where is Milbester? Yeah, we want to say told you so. I know, I'm with that. Mischief is here. Good to see Mischief, the base man. Darko got to play Jamison Battle more minutes in last night's game. Battle was 3 for 3 from 3 for 9 points in 11 minutes. Battle looking like Klay Thompson out there. Yeah, one of them was a deep 3. Very confident. And I like the action with him out there with the teams because there's a lot of drawing of attention with Brandon and RJ and Scotty. And Jamison just has to stay ready on the outside and they will get that ball out to him. If he's an automatic sure shot, boom, he's good. As Scotty calls him, he's the specialist. That's right. He's the 3-point specialist. They call him the specialist. And in some ways, Jamison Battle's got such an interesting journey with the Raptors as an undrafted player. He really has been a steady rising star. And for being a shooter who possibly could be a streak shooter, he's been very steady. That's amazing thing to me is that for the most part, Jameson has been extremely steady in his first year of the Raptors and so far this year too. God forbid he goes into cold streaks or anything like that, but the man has been pretty dependable. There have been times where he doesn't make his shots, sure. But overall, the man has been very much a sure shot and very, very dependable. Always good to see the base man mischief in the chat. Good morning, Fiercey. Thank you for supporting this channel as a member. I appreciate you so much. Good morning, fam, and happy Saturday. Could Jacoby's lower back issues be a problem? That's not why Jacoby was out. It's not anything to do with his back. He was sick. He had the flu. So Jacoby was out because of the flu, and did not get in. I kind of explained it already earlier because he has to go back to the back of the line when he comes back. He doesn't just instantly get his spot right back because we have very good competition this year. And well, in some ways, Darko's got to wait for somebody else to screw up, and Jacoby will get his minutes back then. So there's no guarantees on that either. Jameson could be shooting really the lights out, and he's been badass, and he's got his rotation spot. This is how this works. If Grady goes through a bad stretch and he's not playing well, or Oshai or somebody like that, maybe Jacoby will get the minutes then. But right now, he's back at the end of the line. And there's no guarantee that he's going to just get right back in the game just because he's healthy and he's dressed. That's just how it works in basketball. And, he's not hurt. He just had an illness. He was sick. He had a bug. That's why he was out. Yes. It's Giannis. It's Jakob who had the back problem this week. He's the one who's had the back problem. Let's see. Kareem's saying, this is my words of wisdom. Don't be an asshole. Be nice. I like that. Yeah, I mean, there's enough people out there being assholes right now. And in some ways, we all got to try and be more understanding, more forgiving, more put yourself in the other people's shoes, kind of like perspective, and not so selfish and egotistical that we're just thinking about from our perspective. Put yourself in other people's shoes and be empathetic. Be somebody who actually cares about someone. Seriously. Somebody said this recently, and here's my words of wisdom for today. You know what? There's no empathy with judgment. Yeah. When you really think about this, people try to be like, yeah, I'm empathetic and I care about them, but they deserve what they get because they didn't do this and do that. No. There's no empathy in this world if you have judgment in the same breath with the empathy. You cannot have true empathy for people if you're judging them at the same time. And that's why there's so much two-faced ass bullshit out there where people acting like they're helping people, but on the down low, they're judging that person too. So I say, get rid of judging. If you're going to be an empathetic person, want to help people out, you can't judge them at the same time. It doesn't work. All right, here we go. Blackhawks calling in today. Neil, you're on the air with the Raptors Freaks, and thank you for calling in. Sorry, I didn't take the call yesterday. How are you doing today, man?
Blue Jayish. That's how I'm doing.
You're what? Oh, Jayish?
Blue Jayish.
Blue Jayish. I love it, man.
Instead of blue balls, I'm Blue Jayish.
Whoa. TMI. Yesterday in my yard, I put a bunch of birdseed in the yard, and I had a whole family of Blue Jays in my yard all day yesterday playing and just having a good time. And I took some videos and pictures of them and sent them to friends saying, go Blue Jays. But yeah, I love having the Blue Jays in my yard, and I'm hoping that, more Blue Jays in my yard, more runs for the Blue Jays.
You better be taking pictures and posting it up.
Pictures
on your Discord. Yeah.
The problem is that all this stuff is on my phone, and I don't go on Discord on my phone, and I'm not bridging the gap from my media on my phone. So it's like I'll text people with pictures. I'll send you some pictures. I have your phone number. I'll send you some Blue Jays pictures if you want.
No, but where's your Discord? On your tablet or something?
Yeah, I only do it on my computer. I don't have the Discord hooked up on my phone.
Yeah, I have Samsung phone and Samsung tablet, so I have this feature in my phone called Quick Share, and I can move it from the phone to the tablet just like that. But that's because they're the same product line, right?
Right.
I don't know if you can do that on the computer.
I could probably do all this, but I'm not that tech savvy, and in some ways, I'm like, it's not a big deal. In some ways, it's like I share so much with you guys, and I would share those pictures with you guys too, maybe individually through the phone. But also on the same token, I'm like, all right, I'll put this on Discord. I don't know. Maybe I'll figure it out at some point.
We need to see some amateur photography coming from you.
Yeah, some of it's pretty bad. Bad. I do take pictures of my yard and stuff.
To get better, you have to start from bad.
That's true.
To get the best.
That's true.
Not right.
One of the things I do is every morning I take a picture somewhere in the yard
Hmm.
for my mom and send it to
Hmm.
her so that she can see kind of what's changing up here. So I'll
There you
take
go.
pictures of like the fall colors changing in the trees, or I'll see an interesting bird, or maybe one of my plants that are growing. Like I have potato plants that are growing right now, even though it's like past season, and it kind of
Right.
keep her updated on stuff like that. But anyway, man, so Blue
So,
Jays
so what you're
win.
saying is only your mom can get those photos.
No, I send those photos to Adriana. I send them
Okay,
to
okay. There you go, Mom and Adriana. There you go.
yeah, there's a
That's
few
all right.
people that I
We're
send
not
those
hurt.
pictures
We're
to.
not hurt. We know where they are in the pecking order,
You
so
know
we're
what?
not hurt.
Listen, Neil, if you really want my morning photos, I can send them to you. I'll put you on the photo list because you're
Just
on my
put it
phone.
on
You're
the
calling
list.
me
No
right now. I
worries.
could easily text you them in the morning too. I'm going to
Yeah,
do
I
this
know.
just to prove to you that I will do it. Listen, Neil, I want to ask you about something you did this week. Neil
Uh-huh.
went to the opening game event with Raptors Republic. You
Yeah,
went
it
and
was
hung out with
downtown.
Samson Folk and those guys the other
Yeah,
day.
I saw those guys, and then I said to myself, why are we always making the movie star and the entertainer famous? We need to work with the local people.
Mm.
So I said, well, I was down because I was working. I was at work actually, and I just came across. So I worked down at
Mm-hmm.
across from Union Station, the next street up at the TD Center.
Yeah.
So after I was done work, I went over to the bar there, right? And they were having the event, and then I said, hey, all of these reporters there or podcasters there that are reporting on the Raptors, why not highlight them? So I said to them, I'm going to take a photo with all of you guys,
Yeah.
right? And then I just took it and then I said, hey, post it up on your Discord, and said, hey, make the regular people the famous one. Don't not make the movie star who you know what I mean? They're not direct. Well, these are the people who are direct. So let's highlight them for once.
I like the crew that were there. Like you were there with Karthika. You saw
Yeah, yeah. I saw
Will
Kartika
Liu and
there.
Alex
I shocked
Wong.
her. I shocked her. I just kind of, I mean, how can I have a photo? I acted like a groupie.
That's funny. So, did you find a good place to watch the game last night? I know you were asking that. Where should I
No,
watch
no.
the
I,
game
I
tonight?
I just watched it on my big screen projector.
Okay,
Right.
so you
So
just went
yeah.
home
So
and watched it. So yeah,
yeah,
that looked
yeah.
like a fun event with the Raptors Republic group and
Oh yeah.
all the different people
Oh
who
yeah.
are there for that.
Oh yeah.
Samson Folk, a lot of respect, much respect to Samson Folk.
Yeah. Yeah, I
Yeah,
met him for the first time, and then I was shocked. He's a very, very, very pleasant guy. So
he's a nice
very
guy.
shocked.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
and he
They,
really
they, they
knows his
all they
stuff.
all were pleasant. Everybody was pleasant. And then I just said, "Hey guys, if I ever said anything nasty on your podcast, I apologize." But then again, I don't have anything nasty.
Yeah. So, anything about the game last night or the
Well,
Blue
first,
Jays?
well, first of all, many of us need to make sure we're not taking, like overanalyzing
Yes.
this game because I mean, like it's only the second game of the
Yeah.
season. We can only get better. Yes, we lost. We would have loved to win that game, but in the grand scheme of everything, it's just a stepping stone towards what we're going to accomplish the entire season.
To build.
Right,
Yeah.
right. So I believe we can take tomorrow's game. I believe, just like I believe we could have taken the Bucks.
We honestly could have won that game last night. It was definitely a learning lesson, but also
right.
it's one of 82.
Right. And when you say learning lesson, not just a learning lessons for those players, for Darko too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because from my analysis, there's some things that I'm looking at and saying Darko could have done certain things better because he was doing it, but he just didn't do it in the right mixture. Right. The fact that you had Quickly on the floor, he needed a point of attack defender with him on the floor. So maybe you would have to say, okay, well, maybe you take out RJ and put in a stronger point of attack. This is where you would say, okay, now I want
Colin or Jacoby.
Jacoby, since Jacoby was available.
Yeah.
But maybe they're saying, well, because he was sick yesterday, I just don't want to throw him back on the floor. But you needed him because I put it in the comment section.
Okay.
Doc Rivers knows this team.
Yeah.
He is the one that called out how to beat up the Raptors from the time he was on the 76ers. And it's true that one problem has not been solved, but yet we have the ability to solve it this year, which is the point of the downhill drives, right? So if we stop those downhill, Rollins and Anthony, we're only doing what Doc Rivers point out.
Yeah.
right? He's showing them you can go downhill on this
They
team.
were smart, yeah. And
Right.
Darko admitted this in the post game. He's like Cole Anthony going off the screen and going to the basket, huge, really killed us. And
but it's because it's been a weakness of ours.
I think that what we could have done is maybe late in the game. I know that they're the starters. And I also think that Shed got hurt last night on the down.
Right, and that was the other one I would call out.
Yeah,
because I was going to say
like,
the moment
they could have played
Shed
late, and that might have helped in the area that you're talking about.
No. Chucky was suited up. The moment that Shed fell down.
No, Chucky wasn't suited up.
No.
Listen to me real quick. He was wearing a hoodie and an outfit that looked like he was in warm-ups, but he wasn't.
That was Raptors gear. Yeah, that was Raptors.
It was Raptors gear, but it wasn't the official warm-up. He was acting like he looked like he was warm. He was not suited for playing last night.
Well, they should have had him suited up because they need another point of attack defender.
I think that they're doing this thing where they have Garrett and then like the other guys, but they haven't suited the three-ways at all yet.
They should have Chucky suited.
Well, either way, they didn't. Right? I mean, I know it looked like he was, but if you look really, really close, he was not wearing the official warm-up.
Well, that's a mistake on their part. It is because I'm looking at it from this one. We know who our teams are. Right? You're going up against Doc Rivers. He knows who this team is. You have to have a different approach for him. You have to.
I mean, I get what you're saying, but let's not act like Chucky is a established NBA player yet. He hasn't even played an NBA minute yet.
It's not an established player. It's just being a point of attack defender.
Well, in that case, I would say Shed should have been out there more at the end of the game then.
He was hurt. He got hurt. That's what I'm saying. You needed another one. You draw in the pot.
Well, who would it be then? I mean, do you put Grady out there to be aggressive?
No. It's not Grady.
Is it O'Shea?
O'Shea, yeah. You know why? Because that's the other mistake they made. O'Shea should have not been on Giannis.
I don't remember him being. I don't remember him being on Giannis.
He was on Giannis at times.
He was,
and that was a mistake. You can't put O'Shea on. Giannis is just stomping over people. He's a green giant.
Well, he was doing that to everybody. It doesn't matter if it was Scott. It doesn't matter if it was Jakob. It doesn't matter if it was Jonathan or Sandro or O'Shea. He was doing it to everybody. I don't remember O'Shea guarding him very much last night. Honestly, I don't even remember O'Shea being in the game very much last night.
He was. He was in the game. He was in the game.
But I mean, he wasn't in the game that much. Like he didn't really make a big factor or anything.
Well, this is the thing, right? You increase the time on the starters, and you give a small amount of time to the bench, which is okay to give some time to the bench. But what I would have done was decrease the time on the starters, rotate more, because the more
you're saying decrease the time on the starters or increase the time on the starters?
Decrease it.
Yeah.
Decrease it because you want to keep rotating. Because the other
I think that actually was a problem, because when Shed got hurt, they brought Emmanuel back early, and that ate into some of the time from the bench.
But that's
the rotations got screwed up when Shed hit the ground on his elbow, and Emmanuel had to come in all of a sudden, Emmanuel got more of Shed's minutes, and then there was like they were more tired at the end of the game too. I think that's what you're trying to say.
Darko had to go deeper, not go back to IQ. He needed to either you bring out Jacoby or you bring out Chucky, and he has a plan to have these guys ready to go at all time, because those are his point of attack defenders.
I get that, and I understand. Right? I understand your point on this. Right? I mean, you're right. They should have guarded Cole, and they should have guarded Gary better, and different, and Ryan too. That Ryan Rollins guy was annoying, honestly.
And protect quickly, because you know this is not his strength. So that's why you pair him up with a proper defender to protect him.
Yeah.
Right.
I think that's true to an degree. I mean, I think the starters should start together at the beginning, but maybe, at the end of the game, don't just play the starters at the end of the half or at the end of the game, Darko, just because I'm going to play the starters at this end, because in some ways, I think what Neil's saying here is that they have to have a little bit more of a defensive punch at that point. And maybe you take the one starter that isn't playing as well as he could, like he's not as efficient or doesn't have it as well, and they're out of the.
I would have taken Jakob off.
Yeah.
Play Mogbo with Scotty.
Or Mamu.
No. Scotty and Mamu. Those three together.
Yeah. You said you said Mobo.
Yeah, Mogbo, Scotty, and Mamu. Play them together. Because then you got the speed and the defense.
Well, this is one thing. We weren't meeting people correctly anywhere, whether it's Giannis, whether it's Cole or anybody. We just need to step to these guys and get in their way better, because this just wasn't happening.
That's because, again, having the wrong person out. It's not that Scotty can't do it. Scotty can't do it by himself. So you have to pair him up with the right person when it come on to Giannis, right? So that's what I'm saying. Put Magbo with him, and you have Sandro there as well, because Sandro will still apply the speed and the offensive there, but Sandro still has some defensive weakness. So that's why you pair him up with the two strong defenders, and then you can worry about the other two positions with two other people. I still would have a shooter. I like having Battle. Battle was good shooting last night. Battle's defense is a little bit better than Grady's.
Yeah.
The only thing I like Grady was rebounding good. Grady's good for moving around.
I should go do the rest of the box score just to kind of go over the other guy, because I feel like we need to look at what Oshai was doing too, and kind of like go over and see what the rest of the guys were doing.
Well, yeah, but that's what I'm saying. Like Oshai, they should have him paired up again.
I mean, all this is specific nitpicking about the rotations. The thing that we should really do is, it's not necessarily we should have this specific person or this person. We need to figure out the actions that stop the other team from doing this, and regardless of the personnel. So it's you got to meet Giannis, you got to meet Cole, you got to meet Ryan, you got to stop these guys from doing stuff. You got to go get Gary on the 3-pointers. You can't let Bobby Portis make mid-range like that, so wide open. They're drawing
But what's the key thing about that, though? Many of the players were out of position when they should have when it came on to many of those. It's
partly because they have to shadow and double Giannis, and that's the thing that opens everything up.
A more stronger balance on the defender's side, right?
Yeah.
But still not give up your offense.
Yeah.
Right. So you got to think about who you're pairing them up with.
Sure. I agree with that. I think the main point of what we're saying here is, at the end of the game, instead of just defaulting to the starters, if you need a little bit more defensive energy out there, maybe Oshai needs to be out there instead of one of the starters.
Punch it out. That's right. Punch it out and get it going there.
Neil, I want to keep moving on the show. Any last point real quick?
I'll leave that for now. I put a lot of this stuff in the comments.
Okay, cool. We'll definitely read over those when we get to them. But man, it's great to hear your voice. And I hope, man, I'm really happy you went to the Raptors Republic event this week and took some pictures. It's very cool that you met Samson and Keeks and everybody.
Oh, yeah. Very, very good meeting them for once. Except for Ez I've seen multiple times.
You've met him before. Yeah. Okay.
Well,
cool.
Well, I didn't meet him, but I said, because he's at the 905, right? I don't know if you remember, he's always at the 905. So I spoke to him about that, and he's saying that he has connections, and that's why he was able to get on the BBL and the 905.
Yeah.
So that was a good conversation I had with him.
All right.
So I don't want to use the word accept. I meant just a side note on Ez. I had to talk to him about how do you get these opportunities and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So it was a good conversation.
Well, the jobs are there if you go look for them. And like the people that are hiring right now are Canada Basketball. They are looking for all kinds of people to come work for the organization of Canada Basketball right now. But CBL is a little bit of a shakeup because their commissioner just stepped down, and I'm sure there's always opportunities to get jobs with the Canadian Elite Basketball League. So, yeah,
I didn't know that. When did that happen?
That just happened this week. But either way, I got to go, Neil. I appreciate you calling in today, and I hope you have a great weekend, man. It's always good to talk to Blackhawk, man.
All right, man.
All right, dude. Thanks, man. I got to keep moving and keep going light. I got to watch my time in some ways, but I appreciate Neil calling today. Yeah, that event looked like a lot of fun, guys. Definitely, if you see Raptors related events with whoever's doing them, you guys should definitely go out and get participate and, represent the RFF while you're down there for sure. That's awesome, man. But yeah, good to hear from Neil this morning. All right, let me see. This is hang on. Oh, see, I messed up. Okay, she wrote Jacoby. I thought she wrote Jacoby. She put Jakob in there. His back issue could be the problem. I don't know if it's back issue is actually the problem. I'm not sure. Let's see what else we got. All right. Nako saying BI, RJ, IQ were our best. It could be that Jakob's back is the issue. with why he's not moving as well out there. That's a good point. I don't know why I read that as Jacoby. I guess their names are similar, honestly. Jacoby and Jakob kind of have a similar name, right? Because, yeah, anyway. Mugarbe's here. Good morning to Mugarbe. Good to see Mugarbe holding it down for us out west. It's awesome. Grand uprising, Raptor Freaks time is not even real, man. Make time. Okay. This is just one game, and we're gonna get both sides of the coin depending on different games. And I mean, this may be a game later on the season where we kind of feel like, man, we let this one go, and we kind of wish we had this one. We'll see. I mean, we'll remember this. This is a game that should have been winnable and should have happened that way, but it just didn't. And hopefully, it's not a big deal near the end of the season when it comes to home court advantage or anything like that with the playoffs. That's why these games matter, Raptors. You can't mess around and waste your time and lose a game when you don't need to lose a game. And in some ways, you should have coveted winning the game, protecting your home court, and winning a season opener at home. That's part of it too, is like you want to set the tone of defending your home record, and you want to have a good home record. You can't lose frivolous games at home like the one last night. It's not good. It's not good. Don't get in the habit of it, is what I would say. Don't get in the habit of it. Let's see. All right. Fiercely saying this. Fun game to watch. Fast paced. Lots of lead changes. Yeah, there really was a lot. Most of the starters were effective, but our bench didn't match theirs. Battle was refreshing, though. All right. Let's do that. Let's do the rest of the box score, because this is true. They absolutely killed us from the bench, and we did not get the bench production anywhere near that we got in the game opener against Atlanta. So this was a problem. All right. Going over guys I didn't talk about in the starting lineup. Jakob Poeltl, 3 for 5 in 27 minutes, only 5 rebounds, which is a big problem. 2 assists, 1 turnover, a -1 with 6 points, no blocks, and very little assists, just very ineffective. Yak was maybe feeling his back. I think Fiercely might be right. Emmanuel Quickly, 6 for 14, 1 of 4 from 3, 6 of 10 from the free throw line, 7 rebounds. See, this is a problem when Emmanuel has more rebounds than anybody else on the Raptors. He led our team in rebounding last night, and we saw him getting down there and getting putbacks and getting garbage points. He's the point guard. Why is Emmanuel boarding better for us on offensive boards than our bigs? Why has he got 7 rebounds and you guys got 5 and stuff like that? That don't make no sense to me. So 3 offensive rebounds by Emmanuel's awesome. 8 assists, 2 steals, and 2 turnovers, 19 points for Emmanuel. Not a horrible game. Honestly, he should have an honorable mention. He was active, and he was going to the basket. He was getting fouled, but unfortunately wasn't making foul shots too. 60% at the line last night. All right, going to the bench. Sandro Mamu was active. He had a couple of plays that were really good, but he didn't really score as well as we would like him to. 1 for 2 from the field. He made both his free throws, 3 rebounds, 1 assist. And a -1 with 4 points. Just, he could contribute a little bit more in scoring. That'd be good. He did make that 1 basket late after RJ did, and that was a really key basket. Jamison Battle, we went over. Jonathan Mobo, only 4 minutes. He was barely out there. And really, Jonathan's role right now is if the Raptors are in foul trouble with bigs up front, Jonathan will play more. But if there's not that bad of foul trouble, he may not play a whole lot. And there will be DMPs for Jonathan. You guys understand that. There will be DMPs. Oshai, 12 minutes, 1 for 1. See, he barely played. Oshai played a fourth of the game. He is 1 of 2 at the free throw line, 1 rebound, 1 assist, and 3 points. He could have been a defensive factor at times, but I guess he just was an odd man out late in the game. Like, seriously, if we need more defense, I feel like he could stop Rollins and Anthony a little bit better than some of the other people on our team. Shed got hurt, and I think that was a big factor in why he didn't play as much later in the game. He was really holding his arm, and you could tell that it was the kind of thing where, like, he needed to come out right away, but Darko was like, do you want to keep playing? And it's like, no, man, don't do that, Darko. Just take him out, even though you didn't want to, because it'll mess up your rotation schedule. And you weren't ready to bring Emmanuel back at that time. But maybe, like Neil said, maybe you should have brought back a different guy to be in there. And maybe Chucky should have been suited up to play. It looked like Chucky was available to play, but he was not wearing a official warm-up. He was wearing a Raptors warm-up just as gear to wear at the game. Grady Dick, disappointing after the first night with 21 points, only 5 points in this game, 2 of 7, 1 of 3 from 3. 4 rebounds, though. He was right. Grady was rebounding. 1 assist and 1 steal and 1 turnover, a +1. Yeah, just no bench production from the Raptors overall. They scored like 26 points from the bench, and meanwhile the other side got like 20 plus more than that. They scored. Cole Anthony scored the same amount as our bench just by himself from the other side. So yeah, that was an issue. That was an issue right there for sure. That was an issue. Yeah. Fiercely saying Giannis is a dominant scorer for the Bucks. If he's out of the game, they're screwed. Yeah, this isn't going to work for too long. Especially since some of the things that they have to rely on is making their 3-point shots. So at some point, if their 3-point shots aren't going in, like Gary Trent Jr. just gets cold and he's in a rut, they're in trouble. They don't have a whole lot of options. And if they're depending on Kyle Kuzma to be a backup to help with the scoring after Giannis, they're screwed. They're absolutely screwed. I have no faith in this Bucks team still, even though they're 2-0 to start the season. I think they have huge major flaws in their team, and they're going to be exposed more and more as the season goes on. This is not a sprint. This is a marathon. And in some ways, I don't see the Bucks built for success for this year, even if they beat us the way they did last night. There's not enough talent. And in some ways, they are a smaller team than they were last year. They may have more shooting in some ways, but that shooting is streak shooting. And it's not necessarily going to be there on a regular basis where they can count on it. So, yeah, they're going to have to figure it out every night. And, the Raptors just didn't figure out the way to the win last night. It was there in front of them, but they didn't figure it out. They didn't get the treasure map to the gold. It's tough. It's tough. Kareem saying this, Scotty doesn't know how to taunt. You're flexing when you're down 6 to an MVP and a champion. I'm all good with pettiness and trolling, but God, you got to back it up. Yeah. Yeah, it's cringe to me. It's cringe to me. In some ways, like I said, I'd rather him go and be like Giannis and be an MVP and a champion and then circle back and start doing that kind of stuff to people. In some ways, doing it ahead of time, it just comes off bad. It's childish. And to me, I'm a purist. I don't like showboating in this league. I don't like kind of like taunting and stuff like that. I feel like it's an unnecessary part, and you may invite more problems than actual benefits from doing it. And that's why I've always kind of been not totally the biggest fan of Scotty taunting people in different ways like he has since he started playing the NBA. Once again, dude, you can't do this if you lose the game, man. It looks really bad. It looks really, really bad. Mr. saying, I'm glad the Blue Jays won yesterday. I jogged from the bottom of the first inning to the sixth for 2 hours. I'm going to jog again today, but I'm exhausted. That's awesome. That's great fitness. Yeah, I've upped my workouts for this year. I used to do just 10 sets. I'm doing 12 now. And I'm going to add 2 more sets for this year and do an even dozen. Last year, I did 10 sets every game. Now I'm going to do 12 this year. So I'm up in the ante. And, Mischief's on that treadmill for 2 hours. That's amazing, man. That's amazing. I know he talked about this before, that he likes to do this. That's amazing, man. Keep going. Fiercely saying, my goodness, BI is such a bucket. He's really good. Like, I like that late 3 he made. I mean, he's very confident. It's just that in some ways, we've got to balance him taking control and when not to, when to and when not to. One of the things Darko's talked about a lot in the post game was his guys need to realize when to pass out of the double and get to play off of themselves. There's a lot of doubles coming at RJ and Scotty and Brandon in different ways, and they need to get that ball out of there to the open man, just like what Giannis was doing to us last night when we collapse on him and he'd throw the ball out to AJ Green or Gary Trent Jr. So there was a bit of discussion where Darko's saying that the Raptors still need to work on being better about reading those situations. And he feels like RJ's doing a really good job, but he could do better. Scotty, Brandon even too. In some ways, it's like Brandon trying to elevate and shoot a shot over 2 defenders. That's not the right move. Pass it to the guy who's open. And that we got to continue to look for those guys. Yeah, Fiercely saying, waiting on Milwaukee to come glaze the Dodgers again. Yeah, I don't see it. I don't see it after yesterday. And hopefully we'll beat their butt again tonight, and we'll have 2 games down already in the Blue Jays side of things. That'd be awesome. Wayne's here. Good morning to Wayne Strainer. Morning, Raptor Freaks. Not a big deal whatsoever. Our starting crew's still gelling. Jamal was somewhat outplayed, but again, it's game 2. Raptors fans, not the players, were surprised by the Bucks win. Yeah, I want the players to be surprised that, like, well, we lost and we shouldn't have. They were a little too lackadaisical and not frantic enough or caring enough about closing the game to win it. They didn't bring the right care, right respect for the game to get the W. And that's a problem right there. That's a problem, man. That is a problem for sure. Good to see Wayne for sure. Yeah, they are still gelling. They are a work in progress. Like the announcers and Darko have said, there's going to be ups and downs with this team still. It's not just going to be smooth sailing like in the first game. And we need to be allowing for the variance as Raptors fans. That's right. Isaac's saying this. Did anyone catch the $75 million Ronald Reagan advertisement during the World Series? Yeah, that's such bullshit. Listen, do this just to spite Trump, Doug Ford, is kind of stupid, man. Like, you're spending the taxpayers' money on this kind of bullshit. I mean, I like the message. I think that it's right. And Reagan did have an anti-tariff mentality that conservatives in the United States are not aware of, obviously. And Trump's going to get so mad about this, but this is a dumb way to spend money. It's like the politicians in this world right now are not spending money for the people. They're spending money for their own damn vanity and their own damn financial gain. And I'm sick of this shit. I have not agreed with the way Doug Ford has spent money on advertising campaigns, like buying a Super Bowl ad. Why the fuck did you do that? We don't give a fuck about this. We don't care about you doing Ontario ads during the Super Bowl. You're wasting the taxpayers' money, Doug Ford, with your bullshit. And I'm sick of these vanity projects from politicians. Stop spending our money frivolously on ballrooms and fucking TV ads, you idiots. And it's like, yeah, I like the message. I like some of the sentiment. I like that you pissed Trump off. But was this necessary to spend Ontario taxpayers' money for an advertisement like that? No, it wasn't. And it's kind of full of shit. And that's where I'm going with Isaac on that. Yeah. Fiercely saying, Lex, you were right. I kept Kennard on my fantasy league and he performed better yesterday. MK is leading over me. See, there you go. We can go look at that real quick and update the scores. I've got a good lead over Jason, over 100 points now. Let's see. Bryce is losing to Logical. It's very close. Andrew's beating Cool Cat. Fiercey is just behind by 5 points to MK. That's a very competitive matchup. It looks like James is beating Omari. We got Kareem with a slight lead over Gerald. And Amit is got a slight lead over Cass. So there's very close games going into the last 2 days of the week, the opening week of our fantasy. And then HC has got a huge lead over Nins, like over 200-point lead. Wow. That action's fast and furious already in the Raptor Freak Yahoo Fantasy League. Looking like a lot of fun so far this year. See, that's what I'm saying. Be patient. Don't overreact. Get a body of evidence. In fact, the Raptors coach, Darko, said that it's going to be 20, 30, 40 games we're analyzing this team. You can't assess this team right away after 1 or 2 games. We're going to have to see where we're at 20 games in the season, 30 games in the season, and 40 games in the season, about halfway through. And then we'll have a better idea who the Raptors exactly are. Power 35's here. Good morning to you, Power 35. Thank you for subscribing to the channel and being a member. IQ iced BI in the 4th, and it was done on purpose. What? You're saying that IQ didn't let BI get the ball? I don't know. Some people are blaming Emmanuel for not leading the team correctly at the end of the game. I don't like this kind of energy. There was different issues with stuff at the end of the game. And, some of it was defensively with Cole Anthony, and some of it was that the Raptors just did not execute on the other end. And by execute, I mean make free throws. That's part of it right there. They make those free throws, momentum changes. They don't make them, momentum changes. It goes away. So it's really important to make those free throws because they're deflating. When you go up the line, you only make 1 or 2. And I will blame Emmanuel for missing some very key free throws late in the game that absolutely hurt us. Absolutely hurt us. I'm not going to go after him or make allegations that he froze out Brandon, because in some ways, Brandon got shot attempts near the end of the game. It's just that in some ways, I wanted him to initiate and go after and be aggressive a little earlier in the game, like a little bit earlier in the 4th. And maybe you're saying, oh, IQ wasn't giving him the ball at that time. I don't know. Either way, this is a learning experience, and the Raptors need to be better at closing out games. We know that. Randolph's here. Good to see Randolph Phillips. But blessings, beloved Raptor Freaks family. What have you learned from yesterday? Apply those lessons today, and you will have better tomorrow. Do not repeat life's mistakes. I like that. we've got things to learn from this game for the Raptors. They watched the tape today. There's definitely stuff on boxing out and rebounding stuff. And of course, they're going to harp on them to make their free throws and make sure they get their defensive assignments. So, yeah, there's definitely things to learn from yesterday. And, yeah, in your own personal life, if you made mistakes, definitely try not to make those mistakes again and learn from the lesson. I think that's right. Everybody has to go through their path on their own schedule and their own lessons. And even though some people may find the lesson earlier in the first mistake, some people do have to make the mistake over and over again to get actually the lesson. And sadly, that's true. But hopefully they can get it at some point and fix it at some point. Blessings to Phillips family, all the Raptor Freak families. I like that. Trevor's saying Donovan didn't do anything. He's just standing there looking at this crazy man. That's crazy. That's no good. Like I said, the fans are out of pocket and they need to chill out. If you're going to NBA games with any kind of animosity or any kind of weird objects you want to throw on the court or any kind of weird shit, just go to the game as a fan and watch it. You're a spectator. You're not supposed to be involved. In some ways, the NBA is more risked than any other sport because of the proximity and the ability to kind of just reach out and touch the players better than any other sport in the major sports. There's some danger in that. There's proximity. And in some ways, the NBA has to be extra vigilant because of this. We don't want to go back to the old era of cagers. Y'all know what about that? In the very beginning of basketball, they all put them in a steel cage, a fence cage, and the ball wouldn't go out of bounds because of it. It would bounce off the thing. There was no out of bounds, and you couldn't dribble the ball either. You had to pass the ball up and either shoot it. You cannot put the ball on the floor. The olden days of basketball were weird, but they were called cagers because there was a cage between the fans and the players. And, well, we don't want to go to that era because fans are so stupid that they can't stay away from interacting with the players in a negative way at the game. I'm telling you, the NBA is really going to be looking at this closely, especially with the gambling stuff that's going on. And they will have a zero tolerance for fans that are upset about parlays at games. Trust me. They need to come down on these people because all that energy is absolutely unnecessary and toxic. And get out of your own damn ego. Nobody gives a shit about your single bets for yourself. Nobody cares about that except for yourself. And that's the most egotistical shit, that you would come after a player just for your own missing a bet. It's not like you can change that outcome. It's not like chastising or yelling at the player is going to help things. You think they're going to play better next time because you yelled at them? No, it's not going to have any factor. It's totally unnecessary for you to express yourself from an egotistical point of view about you missing your parlay because Jaylen Brown didn't make a certain amount of shots. That it's just a messed up situation all around, man. It really is. Fiercely saying, speaking of Jaylen Brown, fun fact from yesterday's game versus the Knicks, OG was guarding him and rubbed his head against OG's jersey. Wait, well, the jersey got stained with hair dye, allegedly. I mean, who knows what it was? Either way, I mean, it's none of our business, and who cares? I mean, that's kind of interesting. We know Jaylen and OG are cool. And, well, the Celtics lost, and now they're 0-2 to start the season. Yeah, this is exactly what I was saying. Everybody thought the Celtics were a real team this year. They're not. They're going to try and lose for sure this year. They lost the Sixers and the Knicks to start their season. That's right. That's right. Let's see. Power saying IQ refused to get the ball to our best scorer down the stretch. I don't know if he refused openly or froze him out. I don't see that. I know that IQ said this in his interview with Kayla Gray, that he's working the most with Brandon in practice right now, that they're in a group with Pat Delaney, and that he's one of the Raptors that's getting the most time to try and learn and work with Brandon. I think some of this may be just unfamiliarity, that in some ways there's still a lot of gelling and catching up and understanding who each other are as basketball players and playing together. This is so early on that there's going to be lumps and there's going to be little wrinkles. I don't want to start any kind of storyline that IQ freezes out Brandon, because that, to me, I didn't see that last night. If you want to try and prop up Brandon and not so he doesn't get blamed for something, I can understand if you're a big Brandon fan, but that's unnecessary. I think in the flow of the game, the ball wasn't finding Brandon exactly right. But if you perceive it as Emmanuel was freezing him out, I don't think that's healthy. And we kind of don't do that kind of stuff here. We don't build storylines that are negative for the team here. I'll pay attention to this. And if I see evidence of it down the road during the season, maybe I'll bring it up and say, okay, maybe Power was right. But I don't see this. In fact, Emmanuel was very excited about working with Brandon in his interview with Caleb Gray on the shift. And yeah, he's working a lot with him behind the scenes. So we'll have to see. We'll have to see. Let's see. Mischief saying NBA Chev was right about Toronto winning a championship in 2025. Chev said this 3 years ago. If we win this year, that'd be fantastic. That'll be a great journey over the whole season. I mean, if the Blue Jays win the World Series, anything's possible, right? We can think about where people had the Blue Jays pegged in the Major League Baseball for the season and see their journey through this whole year. Well, anything's possible. That's what I'm saying. We can be like them. We can. Fiercely saying, hoping Jamal Shedd's left hand is okay. Was it his elbow? It's his elbow. It's his left elbow. The way he hit the floor, he just hit it hard. Part of it could be that he had a funny bone stinger. That, you know, that kind of thing where you hit your funny bone and it's like, ooh, and he's holding it. It's holding it. There were a lot of interesting, weird injuries last night. Whereas Kuzma hurting himself on a foul because he did a little tumble roll like a little kid. Whether it's Rodney Mott pulling his calf and having to leave the game in the middle of the game and the end of the game being run by 2 officials. These things weren't really a factor in the end. I thought that Callio and Foster did a good job considering they were down a man all of a sudden. I felt bad for Rodney, honestly. I like Rodney Mott. He's a good ref. He's a longtime ref. He's not always been the best to the Raptors, but I know he's a good on the up and up ref. And it's sad. The man is almost 69 years old. And him hurting his leg like that, that's got to be a blow to his ego. In some ways, it may be this is the last year of Rodney Mott reffing because he just physically may not be able to ref as much. He may be going on the DL because of this calf strain. And that sucks. I mean, this is a crazy kind of game. Not only players get hurt, but the referee got hurt and had to leave the game. And that sucks. I mean, Jamal got hurt. We saw Brandon get hurt for a little second, the way he hit the floor. Yeah, it was a very physical game, and different people were getting hurt in different places. And hopefully there's no add-ons to our injury list for tomorrow against the Mavs. We're going to have to pay attention to that. It could very well be this like this, Blackhawk, that if we hear that Jamal Shed is not available for tomorrow, Chucky Hepburn's coming to get activated tomorrow and be wearing the Raptors uniform to play and make his debut. Because that's the thing. We want these reserves to step up, next man up, if guys aren't available. And hopefully Shed is fine. He can play. But if he isn't, it's nice to have some insurance coming up underneath, you know. Power saying this, Jameson really spaced the floor a lot with his lethal 3-point shooting. Yeah, that's why I like the look of Battle Dick formation. If you have both Grady and Jameson out there, it is really, really a lot of 3-point threats out there. And we saw this formation last year a lot. And that, you know, it's just a very interesting look to have 2 very, very good 3-point shooters out there at the same time. So hopefully we'll see that some more. And Jameson's doing a good job. You know, it's a very competitive Raptors team to be in the rotation. And Jameson's got his spot. He's earning it. He's earning it. And in some ways, he's kind of the long shot. He was the long shot to get more minutes on the team. But if he's going to be consistently hitting his open shot and providing good rebounding and not bad defense too, he should be playing. He should be playing. Naga saying flexing against Giannis was a bad look, made him play worse a possession after. You know, Scotty gets emotional. He gets excitable. And sometimes that energy can draw away from good things on the court. You know, there were times where, you know, in the beginning of Scotty's career, he yelled a lot and talked a lot on the court. And then he realized to play with the endurance it takes to play in the NBA, he can't be wasting his breath, yelling and screaming and and all this stuff. So he cut that out and he got more cognizant of, you know what, I need to save my breath. I can't be talking all the time. I can't be yelling all the time. I have to pick my spots to do it because I'm winded more because I'm being so vocal out there. So that was an early lesson for him in his career. There may be some lessons he still needs to learn about some of this stuff. Let's just put it that way. There may be some more lessons here. That's what I'm saying. Yeah. James is saying BI keeps it humble after getting clutch baskets like Kawhi. Yeah. In some ways, it's like, look, if you're that good and that badass, you should act like it's a normal thing. It's the everyday thing. You know, it's the people that go crazy. Oh my gosh, I made a game-winning shot. I've never done that before. Yeah. No, if you've done that, been there, done that, act like you did. It's nothing. Like OG in the bubble against the Celtics. It's like, oh, yeah, I hit the shot, guys. Okay. You know, that's good. That's good. That kind of confidence. That's confidence is what that is. That's what that is. Not going to say in CMB plays we win. It was a pretty good game for the most part. There's all kinds of outcomes that could have won. I won't say that CMB plays we automatically win. I say we shoot free throws better, we win. We rebound better, we win. We make more threes, we win. Our bench plays better, we win. Those are 4 reasons right there. We play better and we win. Right there. Bench plays better, scores more, and helps the starters, we win. We make more of our free throws, we win. We make more 3-pointers, we win. We had some open threes that didn't go down that would have changed the game a lot. Stargate's here. Good to see Stargate. Exactly. The flexing was unnecessary, especially in the second game of the season. Just play to win and not play to show off. I think in some ways it just got excitable, and he really does want to match up with people like Giannis. And when he gets those little victories, now it's a good thing that Giannis is a good competitor and a nice guy, because in some ways, if it's a guy who's an asshole, you may really tick them off, Scott, showing them up. I think in partly that's part of the reason why Scott felt like he could do this, because Giannis has publicly said very nice things about Scott, and he likes Scotty. He thinks he respects him. So in some ways, Giannis is like, the other thing is like, this is another thing that Doc said after the game, and this was a big, huge reason why he thinks the Bucks won last night, is that Giannis kept his cool and showed himself as a leader on how to carry himself and not get distracted by BS and just stay focused on winning the game. Because he did. Doc brought this up, is like Giannis could have easily gotten emotionally or out of the game, whether it was from fouls, whether it was from Scotty doing that, whether it was from this or that. But Giannis stayed focused and he stayed determined in a winning way, and that's why the Bucks won. And Doc gave Giannis big time credit for being a leader in an intangible way on how to carry yourself in these kind of situations. He did. He said that in this post game after the game. He said that. Yeah. Let's see. G saying this: we may struggle more with teams that have star centers like the Nuggets and Bucks. Hawks were very non-threatening in the paint. Yeah. I mean, I think that part of the problem right now is we have not established our defense in a half court yet. Sure, we've got this transition defense. We've got this point of attack defense. We've got this press, but we have not established yet this season our presence in the paint and a half-court defensive set, and that is Jakob and Scott and Sandro and Jonathan. These guys need to be sealing out the paint and making it so nobody comes in here, because both games, the Hawks and the Bucks, have had a red carpet rolled out right to the rim, and we can't be doing this. Let's not roll out the rim to win, Tim Hortons. Fuck that. We don't want to roll it out for them to get to the rim. And we need to protect our paint like it's territory that we need to protect because it's our house. And that energy of sealing out other teams from getting to the basket has not shown up this year yet. So this should be a key emphasis for the coaches and Darko to get the players to get back committed to this, because this is something we can do. Jakob's one of the best at doing this. It's just he's been ineffective at that stuff so far this year. I'd say that, man. I'd say that. Yeah. Wayne saying this, your opinion, Lex, but Colin can't be elevated to say he would have stopped Giannis. He would have helped as an extra player, but that's it. Please don't start putting Shamshay expectations on him. Yeah, I'm actually with you on this, Wayne. I think there's other people that have been saying, oh, Colin would have just won the game for us. No, I'm not going to say that, because the man has not played a real NBA minute yet. He's shown a lot of promise in summer league and preseason, but those are different places. And I think Wayne's exactly right. He wouldn't have been the end-all solution to Giannis. It could have been interesting to see how much he could have slowed him down, or maybe get some good defensive plays on him, but it wouldn't have been consistent the whole game. There were definitely going to be points where Giannis beat Colin Murray Boyles if he's guarding him, because welcome to the NBA. This is a former MVP and a champion. So I think Wayne, I'm with you, Wayne. I'm exactly with you. And, Colin has a lot of promise, and he's going to be a great player, but it's all in due time, and don't get ahead of yourself. It's not like he's a bona fide NBA player yet. He still has to prove things. That's the thing. There's too much culture around the NBA where people are just anointing people without earning shit. I'm sick of this shit. Seriously, you can't say Colin Murray Boyles could do this or that. He hasn't proven jack shit yet. So we have to see it in proof in the court, and there has to be a track record of trust and consistency that says, oh, yeah, this is what this guy does. There's too much of this shit around the NBA. Preemptively anointing people and giving people kudos and this and that. And the NBA is guilty of it. The fans are guilty of it. The press is guilty of it. And I'm sick of it. Stop preemptively giving people stuff like Ben Simmons and Zion Williamson. These guys have not consistently shown shit. And Ben Simmons made y'all look bad the way that y'all fawned over him for so many years and how much of a bust he is in his career. So it's like Zion Williamson, you gave him so much and he has not consistently showed up. Let's not have this energy around here. It's earned, not given, like they say. And these guys have not earned any of this shit for these accolades yet. Whether it's, I'm a closer and I'm going to win all these games for us, or I'm going to close people down as a rookie. I'm Colin Murray Boyles and I'm going to do this. He has to prove it and he has to have a track record of doing it before we say he's bona fide. That's just an important part of how it always worked in the NBA. People are giving people stuff way too early ahead of time. Cooper Flag. That's what I say to that right there. Yeah. Blackhawks saying Jakob was getting burned because he didn't have the speed to defend the perimeter and defend against Giannis. Yeah, I think that Doc Rivers had a game plan to run us ragged, in some ways to use that outside shot with the bigs like Bobby Portis to draw Jakob out and get him confused and kind of no man's land, where it's like kind of like you got to go and kind of guard your person you're supposed to guard out there, but you're drawn out, and then all of a sudden you're in no man's land and the lane is open and people are driving and making layups. In some ways, he should have stayed home and let other people run out and guard Bobby on the outside. That's maybe the right decision right there. That's the right decision. Neil saying this, Darko should have had a point of attack defender play with IQ to stop the drive-bys. This is kind of what we talked about on the phone. We can still get tomorrow's game. Yeah, I feel good about tomorrow's game. I feel good about any game we walk into because we have the talent on a roster to compete with any team in this league on any given night. And Raptors fans should be wanting us to compete and do well. Anybody who's pessimistic and think, oh, we're going to automatically lose to Wemby. No, don't say that, because we do have a chance. If the Blue Jays can do this to the Dodgers last night, well, this is sports. This is how it works right there. Okay, Milbester did show up, guys. Cool. All right, we have to see what he says. Shaq Lindsay saying this. Shed is good at certain spots in the game, but not a steady replacement, especially if IQ is struggling. Yeah, it's weird. I don't even know if IQ is really struggling. It's just that he's struggled a little bit with making his threes. It was really nice to see him finally make a three and do his celebration. If IQ struggled anywhere was at the free throw line. That's where I really saw him struggling the most. I mean, he was getting to the rim and getting layups. Some of them would fall, some of them weren't. He was getting the line. And if there's anything as far as with the assists and stuff, I mean, he got the most rebounds on the team, and he's playing like a point guard for the most part. Milbester's saying this. Lex, my cousin is pissed. Dodgers fan. Jay's kicking their asses is a nightmare for him. The Dodgers lose. Look at this. Milbester coming in, singing the song of David Ortiz. The Dodgers lose. That's right. I like that kid for the Blue Jays after the game wouldn't take the Red Sox shirt from David Ortiz. David Ortiz tried to give him some sort of shirt. He said, bro, this says Red Sox on it. Get this away from me. That was pretty cool. That was pretty cool right there. But yeah, G saying Ortiz was greeted by a customs agent saying the Yankees lose. And Milbester's a good sport. That's hilarious. So he's coming across the border and our customs said the Yankees lose. And David Ortiz probably had a big smile. He's smiling and laughing. Man, I feel like David Ortiz is a huge Vlad Jr. fan. And like in some ways, it's like the Dominican love between Ortiz and Guerrero is so strong. It's awesome. I love it so much. They honestly have a really nice chemistry and synergy between the two of them. Of course, I know that David's probably been in Vlad Jr.'s life since he was born. It's just like that. The Dominican community in baseball, Vlad Sr. and David Ortiz, contemporaries of each other, probably very good close friends also. So yeah, it's a family thing. It's a family thing when it comes to Ortiz and the Guerreros. That's what I'm saying right there. Yeah, when I say this, let's talk about talk about IQ and BI is just nonsense. Let's kill that noise. I mean, I'll pay attention to this. And if there is an issue with this, I'll definitely revisit this, what Power said. But in some ways, I don't want to put any strength to this narrative as of right now. In some ways, we've got to understand we don't want anything unhealthy for the Raptors, especially this early in the season. It looks like I skipped a bunch of comments. So let me get back to things here. I apologize for missing this stuff. So let's see. Where was I at the last place? No. Yeah, I did miss a lot of comments. I'll definitely get them now. I was like, why am I at the end of the comments all of a sudden? That's really weird, man. Okay, Nameless is here. Yeah, I didn't read any of his stuff. Okay, let's see. Okay, yeah, was that Neil? We kept up with the Bucks, and so that is a good sign. The game wasn't a blowout. I wanted us to blow them out. If we had played more correctly, if we had played like we played against the Hawks, we would have blown them out. We were just off offensively, and once again, give credit to Doc Rivers and his game plan. He played us very well last night. He was very smart with what he did. G saying this to add to my comments: stars, superstar centers, and forwards. Okay, I think what was that comment before? I don't know. It was a while ago. Neil saying Scotty will have to team when you flex on the player of Giannis' stature, then you have to keep that energy to the end. Yeah, we've seen a pattern with Scott where he will get really good for like a flurry of a time, and he's just amazing, and then he's just like gone for other parts of the game. And this has been since he's a rookie. You know, we've seen him, he'll show up in the fourth quarter and he doesn't do anything before that. You know, there's different times with this. And in some ways, I don't know. I wish he'd be more consistent throughout the whole entire game, but maybe it's not there yet. You know, we do still see signs of Scott doing offensive moves that are just so wow. Like if this is more of the future with him, we can see where things are going to be really good. And it's kind of cool that he went at Giannis in the game last night and was effective at scoring on him because Giannis is really one of the best defenders in the league. And Scotty going toe to toe with him, trying to match him bucket by bucket. And some ways that energy's right. It's just don't gloat when the battle's not over. Don't gloat so too soon because the battle is not totally over. I mean, he felt it in that moment. He did it. And in some ways, it is what it is. It didn't look exactly right, though. That's for sure. Yeah. Nameless is here. Good to see Nameless. People, we did need CMB to win. Just a few things may have went a bit differently. Exactly. Exactly. No savior coming to save us. We should have made free throws. Wayne saying Bucks win was deserved, period. Yeah, we didn't deserve to win the game. In some ways, that's how games get decided. You know what? You didn't play well enough to deserve to win the game, Raptors, last night. And that's the truth. That we didn't deserve to win this game. And we didn't. And that's just how it goes. That's just how it goes sometimes. So you want to make sure you deserve to win the game, Raptors. That's right. You want to make sure. That's right. The Bucks win was deserved. I understand your point, and I'm not saying you're blaming Jakob, but our loss was a team loss. No one was terrible, and the Bucks were better, and that's why we won. You know what? This is a great attitude, and I'm gonna give Wayne a dunk for this because it's like we're a team. We're not. It's not an individual thing. Don't point out individuals. We win and lose as a team, and I like that sentiment by Wayne. In some ways, I like to analyze the box score and the game to figure out exactly why the outcome got to the end like it did. In some ways, that's kind of like we will go individual, but the whole responsibility of what happens at the end of the game is all of them as a collective. And I agree with that. 111 for Wayne Strainer. I agree with that. That's the right mentality. We win and lose as a team. And that's exactly right. Because everybody contributed to the outcome last night. And we did not win. That's right. Name is saying I'm a 3.6% on the level of the concern meter right now. You're a minus 3.6. So he's not concerned, is what he's saying. He's a minus 3.6 on the level of concern meter. He's not concerned. This is good. Neil saying we have to reduce those self-inflicted turnovers. I agree with that. I didn't feel like the turnovers were a super big part of the issues. I think that the offensive rebounding that the Bucks did was very much an issue. And that is a huge problem. They got to box out and make sure no second chance shots for the opponents. That was a huge thing that killed us late in the game, especially. Neil saying this, more rebounds means more possessions. That's what happens when Giannis gets 20 rebounds. Yeah, he shouldn't have been operating like that so well. And, Jakob, Scott, Jonathan, Sandro, you guys need to get in the boards and get more boards than Emmanuel. Seriously, Emmanuel quickly having most boards out of all the Raptors last night is a big red flag in certain ways. Let's see. Wayne saying this, Raptor freaks keep going down that road of praying for that one player, Koloko, Shamshay, and now CMB. And don't get upset with me for pointing that out. I mean, people like having new players and getting excited about that. I understand fans that are like that. But I agree with you, Wayne. It's like, listen, we don't need to be acting like there's a savior, whether it's a draft pick, a lottery pick to tank for, whether it's a project. Shamshay's gone. In some ways, we got to just be okay with that. I don't feel the loss of Shamshay as hard anymore this week. But still, if he comes back around and he makes an NBA career for himself where he's a badass, yeah, we're going to feel it then. So, I mean, I get what Wayne's saying here. There's no saviors. There's nobody coming to save us. We need to do what we're doing and win it with what we got right now. And we can't just put it all on the young guy who's coming up and saying, this is the guy. Although I have strong foresight that Colin Murray-Boyles is going to be a big part of the next Raptors championship. I've had a vision, and I've seen it, and I see him being a Raptors champion in the next couple years, guys. Neil's saying this. Scotty got 2 out of 4 3-pointers. Yeah, it was good. He revisited it. Part of it was that the Bucks laid off of him and dared him, and, well, they gave him room. He took them. And he's going to have to take threes from time to time. But, Giannis is going to take, it is true what they said. He could be more like Giannis in the level of when he takes threes and he doesn't. Giannis is not the greatest 3-point shooter, but he was 2 for 2 last night. We left him open. He went ahead and take them. But I don't think Scotty should be forcing threes with defense right around him or any kind of guarding on him unless he really is confidently shooting and he's in his zone. Otherwise, I don't think that that's a good shot for him for the most part. Yeah. Let's see. Blackhawks saying, well, Scotty got, oh, yeah, you read that. And Scott Foster is trying to stay off the FBI's radar. He really was on good behavior. He was very fair. I thought that he was good and just with the challenge call. I feel like he was very unbiased for the most part. I didn't see very much ref manipulation. Now, there may be some underlying shit he did. Like maybe he messed up our free throw shooting somehow. One of the things that the refs will do is they'll step into the lane when the shooter's still in their shot, and that can be disruptive to them missing. That is the one free throw ref manipulation that I've noticed in the NBA is like Ed Malloy does it, is, well, basically the player will be shooting the free throw, and while they're coming up, they step into the lane while they're in the middle of their shot, and it can disrupt their shot and make them miss it. I didn't detect Scott Foster doing that. There was a couple of lane violations last night. Like Brandon was shooting a free throw and everybody jumped in the lane way before he released it. And he did, I think he made it though. But if he had missed it, the refs could have called, yeah, they need to shoot again. There's a lane violation. But do they call lane violations anymore? Really? No, because they don't want to slow down the time of the game. So there's not a lot like that. Scott Foster probably is on his best behavior. And with Rodney Mott leaving the game, well, they had to revert to the two referee thing. And in some ways, that could have been an issue at the end. But no, they carried well with just 2 refs and the crew all of a sudden, because that changes how the game is called. And in some ways, you can get away with more fouls with 2 less eyes on the game, right? In theory, right? G saying Colin is still a rookie and will probably get into foul trouble against a vet team. I think in the end, rebounds were the key reason they lost. Yeah, rebounds, free throws, and not matching the bench and 3-point shooting. Those things right there. That's right. UC's here. Good to see UC. Good morning, Raptor Freaks. There might no game plan that can stop Giannis this season. It's tough. Nah, I won't agree with that. I think that what happened last night is that our interior defense has not shown up for this season yet, and we need to stop people near the basket better. And the Raptors need to rededicate the team getting better at this again, because we've done it in the past. It's not like we can't be a good low post defensive team. It's just that it has not shown up this year yet. So, Giannis will be stopped. That team has less talent. Like they said, this is the first Bucks team that Giannis has been on without another all-star next to him in so long. He's had Lillard. He had Middleton. Those guys were both all-stars next to him. He has nobody else on this team that's ever won an all-star that's next to him. He's really a one-man show this year, and he will go as well as the streak shooting of Gary Trent Jr. and other guys like that on his team. So, yeah, I don't see this, UC. There's no game plan for Giannis. No, we just didn't play right. Neil's saying they have to want CMB because the team is too small. We need another guy that is 6'11" to 7'2" that can defend. Don't get me started on that with Shamshe and Koloko. Come on now. Let's see. Let's be honest. Gary was really special on this team. He was hot and cold, mostly cold when we truly needed him. That is why the Bucks picked him up for nothing as his value was down. Yeah, well, Gary was in contract year, and it also coincided with the horrible downfall of the middle class in the NBA is salary structure. And he's just, in some ways, he's a victim of bad timing and what his earning could be. But, it is what it is. And he gets paid what he gets paid. And he's been in Milwaukee on a cheap contract for a couple years now. Well, the spoils to the Bucks to get a player like him for so cheap. But yeah, he is a streak shooter, and he may not be able to be dependent on, but he is dependent when he's wide open, and he has all the time in the world to hit the shot. That's for sure. Yeah, Blackhawks saying it's stupid to think Cooper Flagg is a point guard and they'll be winning a team in his rookie year. Oh, yeah. I'd say that with any of the teams that are running point guards that are rookies this year, whether it's the Nets, Even the situation for the Bucks last night, looking at their starting backcourt, that's not good. And even with Kevin Porter Jr.'s back and he's playing point guard, he's not a real point guard either. So there's a lot of jokers that are going to be playing starting point guard this year on different teams that are susceptible, young, and they're not very good. And I think that this is exactly right with this. I don't give a shit if he's the number one pick out of Duke and everybody's kissing his ass in the press. You're running point guard in the NBA. That's a whole other level of PhD. And in some ways, you can't get out there and just automatically be good at it, Cooper Flag, and you'll see that. It's not like Victor Wembanyama came into the league like Tim Duncan, did he? No. You have to learn in this league. You don't just become a superstar right immediately. And, well, the Mavs will find folly if they're going to start him at point guard and think they're going to be successful. I'd love to see that tomorrow. That's what I want to see tomorrow when we play the Mavs. That's right. Fiercely saying even Giannis hit 2 3-pointers, make it make sense. Well, he is wide open. They left him open. He made him count. Milbester saying, go Blue Jays. Kick the Dodgers' asses. Thank you, Lex. Beat the defending World Series champs. Don't let them repeat. Do us all MLB fans a favor and beat the billionaire ownership and super team Dodgers. It seems like the whole world is rooting for the Blue Jays. A big chunk of the United States is rooting for the Blue Jays right now. It's amazing, honestly. And it's very much Dodgers fans that are only ones that are really rooting for the Dodgers right now. Of course, the country of Canada is for the Blue Jays. Most of the United States is too. Some of it is political. Some people are like, man, we've been so bad to Canada lately. I would love to see Canada kick the United States ass in baseball all of a sudden. I have a theory, guys. And this may be really crazy to hear right now. And this is totally a conspiracy theory. The Raptors won their championship in 2019 when Trump was president. I think that there is somewhat a State Department thing in the United States government where they look at who wins championships in sports. In some ways, the United States State Department is happy when U.S. teams win because this is economics. It's boon. And, well, I think that in the confusion of Trump and him dismantling the country and the White House and democracy in the United States, that some of the stuff that they would do in some ways to try and stop Canadian teams from winning is not happening because they're confused and they're doing other stuff and there's not as much going on. And this is totally a deep conspiracy. What if the Raptors and the Blue Jays and Toronto teams do better because Trump is president? Seriously. What if on the down low, the sports leagues are like, you know what? Maybe the championship should go to Canada and their GDP and the economics look better. Fuck Trump. I'm not saying that it's fixed or the outcomes are found out, but it is kind of suspicious that, maybe this is a trade-off. Trump is a piece of shit. He's he's absolutely destroying the United States, but Toronto teams do well when he's in power. Is this the thing that we get the trade-off on? Okay, Trump's the president. He sucks. He's a piece of shit. He's a Nazi. He's a fascist. He's a white supremacist. He's a piece of shit. But Toronto sports teams win while he's in charge. This is a weird pattern. Seriously, if the Blue Jays win the World Series, it's going to have some credence to the evidence of what I'm saying. And if the Raptors go all the way really far this year too, and, win the championship too this year, wow. Toronto sports does pretty well when idiot is in the White House. It's just putting these connections together. It's like, this is weird, man. This is weird. If that's the trade-off, I want to take all the benefits of an idiot like him being in charge of the free world. We might as well win championships in Canada. How about that? Yeah. Milbester's saying to think I'm rooting for AL East rivals to beat a team that beat my Yankees in the World Series last year. You know what? That's just how the cookie crumbles here, Milbester. And, welcome to the Blue Jays bandwagon. I know it's not a natural thing for you as a Yankees fan, but welcome. And thank you for your support. That's what I say right there. Neil's saying, do not forget that Doc Rivers knows how to beat our beloved Raptors. He called it out from when he was on the Sixers. Basically, the Raptors couldn't protect from drives to the paint. Doc's a pretty good coach. In some ways, he's not going to get you all the way to the promised land, though. Yeah, I'll give credit to Doc Rivers for last night. I will. He did a really good job coaching the team last night to beat us. He had a good game plan for sure. For sure. I don't want to give him too much credit though, Neil. G's saying this, Blackhawk, they really made Cooper point guard. Shaking my head. How ridiculous are they? Well, they deserve to lose then. If they're going to do stupid shit like this, they're going to deserve to lose. Neil's saying Rollins and Anthony going downhill was because Doc Rivers pointed out as a weakness. Yeah. The game plan was executed. Cole Anthony listened to him. In some ways, Cole Anthony's a lot like Doc Rivers as a player when he played. They're very kind of similar with some of their edginess and the way they play. Doc was a way better player than Cole Anthony when he played in the NBA. But there's a lot of similarities to kind of their mentality and their competitiveness and the way they go at it on the court. Doc Rivers was like that when he was a player for the Hawks. When he played in the NBA, he was a very hard-nosed competitor that was actually really annoying. Like, he was physical. And Michael Jordan hated playing Doc Rivers because Doc Rivers was on his ass, and he was an annoying player. In some ways, he parallels Cole Anthony. So Cole Anthony being on the Bucks is actually pretty good, especially since Cole Anthony's dad played in the league too, Greg Anthony, and he's friends with Doc Rivers. So it's like Cole Anthony could be an extension of Doc on the court, literally, because he plays a lot like the old Doc did. That's right. Let's see. Neil saying, gee, they sacrificed in the season doing that. Cooper should be a small forward playing with vets to guide him. Yeah, that's not the right place to start him out at. It really isn't. It really isn't. And, well, they want to make that mistake. That's fine. The Mavs organization is not run well, once again. They're not run well. The whole Luka thing is absolutely a travesty. And Nico Harrison should be fired. And those Mavs fans should continue with that energy coming to the arena all year. We'll see it tomorrow probably. We'll probably see some fire Nico stuff tomorrow, sure. Hopefully, yeah. Fiercely saying, no, Lex, I wrote Jakob. Could it be that the lower back illness is stiffening issues keep him to not be on the team quick on his feet? Yeah, I apologize for that. I think that in some ways their names are so similar, I may get them mixed up at times. I apologize. Yeah, that's totally my mistake, Fiercely. I misread that, and you were saying Jakob the whole time. Yeah, no, I think that you might be right. The back is part of the issue with what's going on with Pirtle right now. Let's see. And yeah, Neil called in. Wow, I'm way back to then. Wow. Big up to Fiercey. Darko wasn't happy with IQ. I don't know if that's right. I mean, listen, there's a lot of dumb shit on Reddit right now with that one picture of Darko kind of rearing back at IQ. I don't know about this, guys. I don't know about this. There's a lot of different things Darko could do. If he really was pissed off at IQ, he could bench him and put somebody else. I didn't see this exactly. Now, if he's talking to him and just kind of going over things, yeah, he's going to do that with all the players. And the great thing is there's accountability, and he's not mincing words because he has trust with the players, and he can be very critical of them in the moment right there in the court. But let's not get it twisted. He could be doing that to IQ last night. He could be doing it to Scotty at times. He could be doing it to Shed at times. He does it to all the guys. I've seen him talk to Grady and be very forceful and saying stuff. They show clips of him talking to people and him basically calling people out right in the minute of the moment. But that's because he's got that kind of trust built with the players that he can be constructively criticizing them in the middle of the game. And hopefully that gets them to switch and make the adjustment. So I don't know. I'm not building any narrative around IQ in some of the ways that you guys are right now. I'm not going to do that. Milbester's saying, Lex, the Blue Jays fans last night had posters at Rogers Center with the Rogers you lose. Yep. David Ortiz was live on Fox postgame, and he said it live. His same line with the Yankees lose. Yeah, it feels better to hear a different team's name in there, doesn't it, Milbester? Laugh my ass off. Lex and all the Canadians and Toronto Blue Jays fans from the Yankees fans, thank you. Beat the defending champs, Dodgers. Go kick their asses. All 29 teams of MLB will love you for this. Yeah, I'm with it. I think it would be good for the MLB too, because, like I said, I'm jaded on Major League Baseball because I don't want to see a league where you just buy championships. And the Dodgers are that team right now. And it's no fun to see a dynasty of just buying championships. It could be bad for the league if the Dodgers win again this World Series. It's a fresh story. The Blue Jays win. And it makes it exciting. It activates a part of the fan base for the MLB here in Canada and in other places. And like I said, it's good for MLB fans because they want to see the underdog win too. That's usually the case. If it's not my team, I want to see the underdog win. That's very often the case in championship series. And the Dodgers are definitely not the underdog. We are. And we're going to come get them. That's right, underdog. That's right. Let's see. Firebolt saying this. Carla, good to see you. She's checking in from the Maritimes. I kept yelling out for someone to step in and take a charge on Giannis, but I understand that's a big guy running at you. It's a lot to ask. You know, he will do this to anybody. And I think that comment earlier that said that he's unstoppable, he's tough. He is sometimes, but we figured out ways to stop him too with a wall and different things like that in the past. Giannis is a top tier level talent. He's a combination of length, speed, and strength that is really hard to bottle up. And, you know, they did not effectively stop him. He obviously was going to the basket and doing too much. Maybe we should have been more physical and fouling him, and we did. And we put him on the line. He missed one of the 2 free throws, and that was a good thing. But there were a lot of times where nobody was getting on him and not getting into him. And I think Carla's right. We need to be more physical with Giannis. In some ways, we needed to deny him space around the basket by holding him off. And we were not doing that. He was sneaking and seeping through and getting into those spots. And that was a problem. That was a problem right there. Shaq Lindsay saying Shed is good at certain spots in the game, but not a steady replacement, especially if IQ is struggling. Okay, I think I got to that one. Yeah, that's where I was at this one. All right, let me keep going with where we are with this. Milbester's saying, hang on. All right. First, Stargate saying, sorry, I had an appointment. What I missed? Did Lex go off on anybody? No, I didn't really. I'm trying not to. There's no reason to. I apologize if it feels like I've been unfair to anybody. In some ways, I have to deal with my ornery, like, asshole self sometimes. And if it manifests on this channel that I'm not totally being fair to people, like misreading Fiercey's quote or being kind of a jerk, I apologize. My personality isn't totally just sunshine and rainbows and easy to get along with. I'm a tough to deal with person in real life. And that's why in some ways I'm a hermit and I live in the forest. I mean, I'm serious. This is part of this. It's tough. I love that you guys stick with me and stuff like that. And you keep watching my channel. I really do appreciate it. But yeah, in some ways I turn into a dick and I apologize for that. I've tried to be less and less of that over time and being better about it, but I'm always a work in progress. And like they say in my AA, progress, not perfection. I'd love to be a perfect person and not be a dick sometimes, but unfortunately it's a part of who I am, unfortunately. In some ways I have to accept it and try to be better is what it is. Yeah. Let's see. Milbester's saying, Lex, the Jays exposed the Dodgers bullpen weakness. Snell got hit and the Jays lineup worked the pitch count to get to the bullpen. That's the key to beating the defending champs. Mess up their starting pitcher, get him a little tarnished with a ERA, and then they got to go to their bullpen because that's their weakness. Woo-wee! Thank you, Milbester, for the scout. And the Jays bats are up for the task. Let's see this happen again today. How about that? That's right. The ultimate test is Yoshinobu Yamamoto. Jays can beat him if they don't chase his splitter, but he throws strikes. The ultimate Japanese pitcher versus good Jays lineup. So we want to beat the best to be the best, right, Ric Flair? So bring him on, Yamamoto. Bring him on, and let's see if we can touch him up real quick with that bat going out. That's right. Neil's saying, I strongly believe teams should be 3 deep for solid point guards and centers. You can be riskier at the other positions. I agree with this too. I am absolutely with Neil on this one. And I feel like we are 3 deep, and we do have that. It's just that we didn't have 3 deep suited last night. And the center thing, for sure, it never seems like we're allowed to have 3 quality centers like so many other teams do around the league. We have 2 right now. In some ways, if Shamshay was still here, I'd start saying we have 3. I don't count Jonathan as a center completely. Jonathan's interview with Kayla Gray on the shift was interesting. He self-identifies as a positionless player that can play all the positions. He's primarily at 4, but he will play 5. He said, even I'll play 1 if you want me. In some ways, Jonathan is very much like Scotty. He's a glue guy, all-around player, but not on the same strength level as Scott. But they are very similar in some ways, Jonathan Bobo and Scotty Barnes, because they're all-around players. That's right. Let's see. Stargate saying the Mavs are 0-2 and they lost the Wizards last night. Yep. That's a big deal. They're going to be hungry to not want to lose 3-0 to us. So in some ways it's dangerous because they've lost so many games, but in some ways it also shows maybe they don't have their shit together and they're susceptible to lose. So we'll just have to see. I'm going to go look at what happened with that Washington game this afternoon, And I'll definitely have a report for you guys on the Scout tomorrow morning when we preview the game against the Mavericks tomorrow. Yeah. Yeah. Losing to the Wizards is a bad sign, Mavericks Nation. Bad sign. I can understand losing to Wemby, who dropped 40 on you, but losing the Wizards the next game, ooh, that's not good. That's not good right there. That's right. Milbester's saying Yamamoto will be tough to beat, Lex. He's been there in Japan when he pitched for Oryx Buffaloes and Japan Climax Series postseason, which is MPB playoffs of Japan. He's an elite pitcher. Jays will see the big test of an elite pitcher. Hey, we're not scared, and we're up for the task, and we're ready to batter their lineups and win. We're ready to bat that shit out of the park and use that home field advantage and get a 2-0 lead on the Dodgers before we go back to LA. Yeah, that's what I want to see. All right, let me get into my tabs real quick. Let's see. We did the box score enough. I've done my 3 stars. Guys, Straight Goods on Canadian Goods, Pure Life water. It's Ice River Springs puts out Pure Life Splash Blast. It used to be owned by Nestle, but Nestle sold Ice River Springs back to a Canadian company in 2020, and it's now 100% Canadian-owned and manufactured and sourced water from Canada. So Pure Life, if you see the name Pure Life in the convenience store, that is 100% Canadian water. So go ahead and buy it. Pure Life, bottled water, sparkling water. That's right. Instagram stories. Chris Boucher is wishing a happy birthday to Jaylen Brown. So he called him old head, and he said, happy birthday, Jaylen Brown, yesterday. And there's Chris coming in the game. And, well, it's the Celtics, and y'all are 0-2 already. That sucks. That's too bad for you guys. Norman Powell signing autographs as a Miami Heat player now over there. And he's also got shout out to super fan Vivian for sending Labubu, new addition to the bags. Have a seat, Labubu crackers or something like that. What is this Labubu stuff? Some sort of Japanese anime or something like that. I don't know. There's Gary Trent Jr. with a lot of highlights from last night. There he is bombing in the corner at Scotiabank Arena last night. Gary was flashing numbers at the crowd, so he definitely was talking trash and getting a revenge game against the Raptors. There's the line for Giannis on his score, 31 points, 20 rebounds, 7 assists. Yeah, Gary is rubbing in, and there's Cole Anthony making an easy layup in the middle of Scotty and Jakob. There's Jordan Bolton on a shirt. Of course, he's celebrating his good friend Jordan and all the laughs and the love with that. So, yeah, Gary's smiling on his Instagram. He's definitely got a revenge game, and he's feeling good. And there's a nice picture of King Bolton. We love you, King Bolton. We love you, Gary, even if you revenge gamed us last night. not Dwayne Wade, Coco Wade was coming to the game, and there's his son. He came to the game in a Halloween costume. He's wearing something crazy. And they got a film of Jimmy at warm-up. So they're showing who is that? Jimmy at warm-up. Who's that? Yeah, there's James Wade's wife and son, and he's wearing a really crazy clown mask. Scary. Jamison Battle after a 3-for-3 shooting night with 9 points. Well, he's going to Joey Restaurant at Sherway Gardens. That's where he was last night. All hits, no misses. Yeah, that was your game. And then the all hits on the plate were a nice steak cooked, some potatoes, and some greens. It looks like broccoli. So, yeah, there's the 3-for-3 for Jamison after the game at Sherway Gardens. Joey eating his dinner. That's where he likes to go eat. He's posted a couple times. That restaurant, Joey Canadian restaurant. Kayla Gray walking on the sideline with the phones, talking to Matt Devlin on his Instagram stories and some goofy TikTok stuff. They always do. It's always goofy. And then also he's putting on the highlight of Scotty flexing on Giannis. Yeah, in some ways it's goofy. In some ways it's fun. But in some ways it's unnecessary. Let's just put it that way. We the Raptors is the book by Eric Smith. Y'all go out and buy it. He's got it on blast. And he's got the good luck from the Buffalo Bills to the Blue Jays, as far as the football team is wishing the Blue Jays luck. And there you go. There's some highlights from the game last night. There's the big home run, grand slam by Barger. Fantastic inning by the Blue Jays. They set some records for World Series in the modern era. There's some stuff that hadn't been done with runs in the World Series in a long, long time. So be proud, Blue Jays Nation. Your team is up 1-0. And they show Ernie Clement walking into the game like a nobody, in his hoodie and a backpack with the fans outside, just walking through people and not even recognizing him because he can do that. He's just walking in the game casually. I love to see that kind of stuff. It's awesome. Some people recognized him and said hi. Some of them did. Savannah's still posting pictures of her birthday, her 30th birthday, and she was watching the Blue Jays game at Bahamas I guess it's a club downtown. And yeah, they were getting hyped in there with the big inning and when they won. Kyle Lowry was on Prime last night covering the game on the announce booth. So I guess he's joined the crew with Blake Griffin and Steve Nash. And who is that? Dirk Nowitzki. That's quite the panel there. But yeah, it's kind of cool to see Kyle involved. Oh, no, he's not even there. That's Giannis Haslam. So he's just saying, let's go. But he wasn't available, I guess, because maybe the Sixers were playing. But yeah, he's going to be a part of that crew at some point. He'll show up. Let's see. Teresa Resch is really into Blue Jays hype. She's posting the hype video for the Blue Jays in the World Series. I love that. And she's also saying, leave the entire world is ready to learn on the Blue Jays tonight. That's right. I hope the entire world is ready to learn. Okay, Blue Jays tonight. All right, I like that. I didn't read that right. And also, Teresa was at the home opener for the Raptors at Scotiabank Arena last night. And she took a picture. Let's go Raptors. Unfortunately, they lost. And then she said, let's go Blue Jays. And she stuck around and watched the game. So a lot of people did stick around in the arena to watch the Blue Jays World Series game at Scotiabank Arena. Pretty cool. And they did the Let's Go Blue Jays chant in the game. The Raptor wearing the Blue Jays jersey, and they were doing the Blue Jays chant in the Scotiabank Arena. That's new, man. That's totally new. It's very weird having the same owner of both teams at this point. So it is what it is. Yeah, JYD was at the game last night, and the Raptor was hanging out with Jerome Williams, saying, my guy. There's Lloyd posted the picture of Scotty flexing on Giannis. It's a pretty hard picture. And in some ways, Lloyd, why not Lloyd, is celebrating his friend Scott flexing on Giannis, which is pretty interesting. Lindsey Dunn, hype for World Series Game 1. Such a great night last night. She had a really cool picture of herself as a little girl with a baseball bat saying, I can't believe I'm covering the Jays in the World Series. And she's also saying, see, I am a natural blonde in her picture. So this is pretty cool. Dreams come true with the World Series in Toronto this year. It's awesome. Leo Routens did a pregame show with Jamal McGlure on a panel, and they were taking questions. Of course, he came into the studio with Kia Nurse and Nikki Reyes. And yeah, they were doing their analysis. I thought that Leo had some good words on the gambling before the show, talking about it. You can tell he would love to just say, I hate the gambling. The gambling sucks. I wish it would go away. But he can't outright say that because all the gambling's the advertisers. And he can't just outright just dump on it like he wants to. But he did have some interesting things to say about the gambling scandal with the NBA. And they did show clips of the Cash Patel stupid-ass press conference. Yeah, it's just a weird situation. And the NBA needs to just fix this shit. This is a big problem. And it's going to continue to be a problem until y'all do something about it, honestly. So, yeah, there's your Instagram stories. Oh, the Raptors did drums versus flats with the players. And apparently Scotty and RJ and Jonathan are like the only ones who like drumsticks. Everybody else likes flats. And they were even shaming RJ, saying he's weird for liking drumsticks over flats. But a majority of the team likes flats over drumsticks when it comes to wings. It's kind of funny clip there. Yeah. Let's see. What else is there on here? Is there anything that great from the game last night? No, that's it. There's the Instagram stories for last night. Lots of good interviews with Kayla Gray and The Shift from TSN put up in the last couple days from the different Raptors, Elijah Martin, Jamison Battle, Jonathan Mobo, Oshai, Grady, Scotty, RJ, Emmanuel. Yeah, these guys all sat down in the seat and talked to Kayla Gray, and some of the interviews were really good. RJ's in particular was really good. RJ's a badass. He totally gets the assignment. He knows that if he just does what he's supposed to do, he should be able to stay on the Raptors for a long time. But some people are trying to talk about, like Josh Lundberg before the game, about RJ and the deadline this week. It's so dumb. Josh Lundberg saying, like, the Raptors did not extend RJ Barrett by the deadline this week. But, then 5 minutes later, he says, you know what? He has another deadline next year that they can extend him at. So it's like, don't chicken little this or make Raptors fans, feel like they missed something on RJ Barrett, because this man's under contract for next year. And the Raptors have the chance to extend his contract that he's on right now at other opportunities in the future. So just because this particular deadline ran out on Monday and they didn't do anything about it, just like with Oshai, doesn't mean that they won't do something with RJ next summer for an extension then. So, yeah, pause and hold your thoughts on that is what I'm going to say right there. All right, we got an idiot in here saying the Raps need to trade Sloppy Barnes. Scotty is a defensive monster holding Giannis to 31, 20, and 7. Yeah, that's not the best first step in here. I'm going to say this right now, and I'm going to go ahead and you know what? I don't need this. I appreciate your subscription, but you're gone. You're gone. Nobody comes in here and calls him Sloppy Barnes on their first comment. Nah, that's not this kind of channel. I'm not hard up for subscriptions or people to follow me. And if you're the wrong kind of fan, you don't get to come in this clubhouse. So yeah, you're out. You're out. Sloppy Barnes. Okay, sloppily you will leave. Because we don't even do this. We have respect for our franchise player. That's right. That's right. Let's see. Where am I at in this comments? Let's see. The Jays will see the test of that. Wayne saying, Raptor Streaks, please don't expect our guys to be at the top of their game before 20 games. Athletes don't peak at the beginning of the season. Check your fragile expectations. I'm with Wayne on this. Darko said it in the post game. The team has to be figured out over the big beginning of the year. And we're going to get more evidence and knowledge, but at least we have a real fighting chance to win most games. I don't think there's going to be many games where we're like, yeah, there's no way we're going to win this night. I think every single game this year, we have a competitive ability to win any game this year. And it doesn't matter how good the team is. I don't give a shit if it's Oklahoma City. I don't give a shit if it's one of the top Eastern teams. We can beat any team this year. And Raptors fans should have that mentality coming into any game. Seriously. Wembanyama on Monday, I don't give a shit. We can beat the Spurs. We can do it. That's right. Milbester saying, Lex, I'm happy for Vlad Jr. too. His dad was at the game last night, especially for Vlad Jr. I'm rooting for him too. Got his 15-year, $500 million contract extension, and now he's close to a ring at 26 years old. That's awesome. And that's why we want to continue to get more from him in the years to come on this contract. You know, this could be very much the beginning. Now, will MLB allow the Blue Jays to be a top team year in, year out? I don't know. But we'll just have to see how the Blue Jays can go forward in the era of Vlad Jr. Because there's a lot of time for him in his career to do stuff. And hopefully the Rogers will invest in the team to keep it winning, especially if they win this year. That's right. Fiercely saying, wow, positive vibes only. Yeah, it's all good. Welcome, Caleb LeBron. Canadian LeBron 1139. I think that's what your name is. If you have another message, you can write in. We're very close to ending the stream, though. So, yeah, let's see. Raptors Reddit reactions, full court gambit recap. Okay. Hi, everyone. The Raptors lost a regular season game tonight, but nobody cares because the Blue Jays won in the World Series. That's right. There you go. I like that. We're going to play Wemby on Monday. Is somebody's talking about that? People are enjoying watching the Blue Jays game after the Raptors game last night. It's awesome. Let's see. Here we go. This is what Giannis said about Barnes last night and what he did. This is from Michael Grange on Sportsnet. This is saying, this is what Giannis said. It's something that I love because that's something I did when I was younger. And Edecomto said when asking about matching up with Barnes, I respect when young players go throw full throttle at me because it's a sign of respect for what I've created over 13 years in the league. You know, in some ways it's interesting, like, because Giannis is basically saying I would make those dumb mistakes when I was younger, over emotional and get hyped like that. But I respect that Scotty's coming at me like that. And I'm not mad at him for it. But in some ways, he's revealing also, I used to do that, but I don't have to do that anymore because this is where I'm at with my career at this point. Scotty in return said, I was just being aggressive, playing with force, going downhill. I made a good play and I was obviously a little hyped. But overall, I just got to keep being aggressive. In the second half, it kind of went away a little bit. I got to keep playing with that force throughout the whole game. I like that. I like that. I like that. Yeah. So, yeah, cool stuff in the back and forth. There's no real issues between Giannis and Scotty. It's just they're competitors and they're coming at each other. So, yeah, there's your Raptors Reddit reactions for today is that kind of stuff right there. Let's see. Is there anything here I want to talk about? No. All right. It's a birthday. We got a birthday today. It is a 3-time NBA champion. Patrick McCaw has turned 30 today, guys. Happy birthday to Pat McCaw, a champion with the Raptors and a 2-time champion with the Warriors also. Now, Pat McCaw has not played in the NBA officially since he played for the Raptors. He's been hanging around on the Delaware Bluecoats since as a player on that team and helping them. He's not even on a two-way. He's just on the G League and playing for Delaware Bluecoats and Nick Nurse in the Philadelphia 76ers system. So he's still a Nick Nurse favorite. And I think he's still there, honestly. He might still be on the Delaware Bluecoats this year. And he's been pretty much there for the last 4 years. So, yeah, Patrick McCaw, salute to you, NBA champion, 3-time NBA champion, and Raptors legend on the down low. Pat McCaw, 30 years old today, guys. So respect McCaw. Stargate saying, I see Zazu Spaces elements are trying to infiltrate the RFF. Get them out of here. Bye, Felicia. That's right. Get that garbage out of here, Jack Armstrong. No, Zazu Spaces, actions and opinions and places. This is not the channel for you. You guys can go ahead and stay in your preschool. This is college here. If you want to be Raptors knowledge college level, you can hang out here if you got that aptitude. But if you're immature and you using nicknames like Sloppy Barnes, well, you go on back to the crib, youngster, and you go hang out with the kids and talk about your bullshit and overimportance on offense. Yeah, you go ahead and go on back there. That's right. Get that garbage out of here. Milbester, don't fill me up right at the end. I don't want to do this, man. I don't want to do this. You're writing too much about baseball. In some ways, we get it. You're excited. But we've done our Blue Jays and Dodgers talk for the day. And now we're going to do the classic card of the day. I apologize, Milbester. It's just you filling me up. I'm at 2.5 hours. I want to get out of here. And in some ways, I'm closing the show. No worries, my guy. I know you mean well. And I know you're excited for these guys right here. Let's go, Blue Jays. All right, here we go. Full name answer, please. Whoa, wait a second. Full name answer, guys. Look at the card. Oh, my gosh. Isn't this crazy? I pulled this. This is so random. We never, ever get Raptor cards. Holy crap. Look at that. Wow. Isn't that cool, guys? We got a Kawhi Leonard from the 1 year, his most perfect year of the season ever. This is a Kawhi Leonard Raptors card. It's Clippers on the side back, but it's actually in the Raptors jersey, which is actually cool. But he's technically says Clippers on it. Wow. I didn't even look at it. I just put it up and I was like, oh, shit, they're going to know this one right away when I saw it. So this is going to be in the classic card box. I'm not keeping this for my own collection. So you know what? Next time you guys are around me, if you want this Kawhi Leonard card, you can get it. This is a mosaic panini. And yeah, it's a nice looking card, isn't it? So 50 points. I believe Fiercey got in there first and got the 4 bounces for Kawhi Leonard. The spelling's a little wild, but it doesn't matter. She got it. All right, let me write that in. Kawhi, I'm actually really, it's cool that we got Kawhi Leonard as the card today. We don't get a lot of Raptor cards. It's weird. I don't know why. I wish these classic card boxes would have more Raptor cards, but they don't. They really don't put any in there. It's really weird. 50 points for Fiercey. That's just too easy. That's the minimum bottom thing. Yeah. Isaac got in second. Slugdeezy third. Milbester wrote in the first name, but didn't write the second name. And yeah, Milbester says, I always like Kawhi. Yeah, he's awesome. He's a great player, but he's not a Raptor GOAT. He's not a GOAT. No, he's a champion. He's an MVP for us. He had his best season ever in a Raptors jersey, but he is definitely not on the Mount Rushmore of the greatest Raptors of all time. Unfortunately, he should have been. If he'd hung around maybe a couple more years, he would have. But no, one and done. Even if it's a perfect season, it doesn't get up there. There's 4 Raptors I rank higher than him, and that's Kyle Lowry, DeMar DeRozan, Pascal Siakam, and Fred VanVleet. Those are the 4 greatest Raptors ever right there. And 3 of them are champions. And one of them was the sacrifice to get the championship that was traded for Kawhi Leonard. And that's why I got to do that. That's right. Yeah, blessings, Milbester. All right. Ciao Bella. Yeah, 7, 10, 23, 43. That's right. Those are the numbers of the GOATs. All right, wrapping it up. My 3 stars of the game for last night were RJ Barrett, Brandon Ingram, and Jamison Battle, with an honorable mentions to Scotty and IQ for just activity and doing things. So yeah, all right, guys. I'll see you guys tomorrow. We'll have the preview 9:30 a.m. tomorrow morning, first thing in the morning. And I hope you'll join me then. I'll have the refs and I'll have the latest lineup news and all the pertinent information to help you get set up for Toronto Raptors at Dallas Mavericks, game number 3 of this 82-game season. All right, and I hope you'll be there with me on Sunday. Let's go, Raptors. Let's go, Blue Jays. Important work today, Vlad Guerrero Jr. Let's go, John Schneider and the crew. And let's get win number 2 in the World Series. That's right. Yeah, the Knicks are 2-0. You beat the Celtics. Yeah, that's not really that tough. You guys have beaten the Celtics and the Sixers, right? Yeah, these teams are not that good. And in some ways, you should beat them, is what I'll say right there. All right, y'all. I appreciate everybody. Let's go, Raptors. We're going to get it right in the next game tomorrow. And let's go, Blue Jays. Win today for sure. Let's go, Blue Jays. Fully cheering on the Toronto Blue Jays today. Let's go.